here.
I like how we're halfway through the list and we're only at C, by the way.
That is
there's a lot of C's.
There's a lot of C's.
Yeah,
Like-
this can pretty much describe
like, what
the level that I think the roster will be as well.
That's also,
the C,
yeah, that's
not
also
like-
my roster evaluation.
Yeah, so good enough, I guess.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a new season of the Salt Mine. This is year 4 of the Salt Mine, is it not? At least for TS Slayer and I, Quax.
Yeah, I was gonna say not
later,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a new
over there.
addition.
It's been going a while. It's
Well,
been
not
going
anymore,
as long
man.
as the NACL's been going, and believe it or not, we've both made it to split number 7. I'm Gordo. I'm joined by Slayer, TDS, and Quax. It's a new season. We have new qualifications. We do have to start off with a big shout out to Slayer. We have a man on the inside now. If you haven't seen the announcements, Slayer will be casting NACL this split. So congratulations, brother. We'll do a little round of applause.
Thank you, everyone. Yep, I will be making as many references as I wouldn't say humanly can, but like respectfully
Sneak a couple of
can.
them in there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
yes.
now that I think about it, technically speaking, aren't we like the most official podcast for the NACL now? Since
I
like
think we are actually.
because nobody in the cast is doing any podcast. The only one is Slayer. Technically, we are.
Yeah, I
we
don't
are, actually.
think.
We can claim
I
that.
mean, if
I'm gonna
Salty
use that,
Runback drops
TDS.
one, then
Yeah.
if Salty Runback drops, then we're equal because Hawk is still on. But
True.
I don't know how much they're planning on dropping this year with Grapes' new job. Grapes has skipped right past
true.
us and one up
Yeah.
us yet
Past
again. He's working on LCS now. Shout out to him. So good stuff around the tier 3, tier 2 casting community. Even if there's been some negative outlooks on the NACL itself this split, which we can talk about a little bit up top. We are of course going to do our traditional preseason rundown. We're going to talk about all 10 rosters. We're going to talk about where we have them power ranked. I'm going to copy over a little Google sheet here so that we can talk about where they're all ranked. I'm just realizing now that I didn't do that yet. But let's open up by kind of talking about the discourse, copyrighted as we always do. I feel like this split upcoming, people are so negative, like especially like around the like ingrained NACL.
What else is new?
I feel like it's almost a little new. I can't remember an NACL split where people were like this doomer about the rosters and about the teams and about the way things have gone. But yeah, go ahead. Please weigh in, Quax.
Oh shit, me first.
I don't know. It sounded like you had something to say. I don't know.
So I mean,
anyone, open offer.
one of the most, I mean, I do want to kind of talk about it because I do think that it has probably been like an overwhelming sense of just doomerism that has kind of been plaguing not even just the tier 2 system, but like the tier 3 system as well. I think a lot of people were negative about the open qualifiers, even though I was really impressed with some of the rosters that we saw there. But like, curiously enough, I think one of the biggest complaints that we've been hearing about is the amount of recycled talent that's been going on in these rosters that, again, we're going to talk about. So if you aren't in the know about what some of these rosters are, or you haven't seen the public announcements for some of the teams, as we're recording this, I believe like 8 out of 10 teams have announced their rosters. And then we have like confirmation of the other 2. But a lot of people have been saying, yeah, talent is being recycled, and it's just the exact same players from last year. Not only do I not fully agree with that, there are a lot of players that were in last year whose names I do not see on this sheet that I'm looking at right now. But also the fact that people are calling this like a very cheap split as well, which feels like it almost it just doesn't match. Like, I don't think that you can be calling this split full of recycled talent and then also be calling it cheap, because then I feel like you'd just be calling last year cheap, and I don't think that was the case at all. If you're calling the salaries cheap, then that's a different thing entirely, and there I might be inclined to agree with you from what I've heard. But if you're calling the orgs cheap for signing these players, then I think that's a bit weird because these are players that, like you've also said, were around last year, and most of who were kept, I think, are rightfully here, to be honest with you. Some of them should be higher.
Yeah, I think comparatively, like comparing to last year, is something very like most people should approach with caution because, funnily enough, like Europe, like Tier 2 NA was a bit of an outlier last year, but not just for the obvious reason of near airport were involved, like trying to make this run right, and that was like the huge prevailing story. But I think it was Gordo who said in one of our chats when we were prepping for this, there were 18 rookies going into
This time last
split
year,
one last year. That is a huge hyperinflated number. So like if we're talking about the whole like recycled roster thing, honestly, it makes sense that we would kind of recycle a bit of last year's rosters because we had such heavy turnover that there was so much of a Wild West scenario where you could like forge your path forward. And funnily enough, the first name that comes to my head, the first person that comes to my head that really like benefited from something like that is Hoarder. Which is really which is kind of unfortunate in the current scenario we're sitting at. I'm sure we'll talk about that a bit later with where Hoarder's at. But like players like Hoarder, right? Like those guys took advantage of the fact that there was such big turnover last year and earned the fact to get recycled into this split because they earned their spots. So yeah, I think for me that's where I don't like comparing last year at this time to where we're at now in such a doomer headspace.
Right.
Which, with that concept, it makes just no sense, right? Because, like, once again, if you're taking year one into, like, perspective, if 18 players are in year one and then you're transitioning into year two, then the turnover, like Slayer is saying, makes complete sense. Especially because if we're talking about a developmental league, development, as far as I would understand, unless it's going to be unless you are like me and you throw them into the fire of the LCS, which nobody does in the NACL, so you have to give them time. You have to give them more than 2 splits to actually develop to some of these players. I would argue there's some that should probably have already gone into LCS, but that's pretty much just my argument. Once again, throw them into a fire is mainly my phrase. Not a lot of people feel like me. But then you have to give time to other players. Like Gordo, first year was good. You have to give them a second year to finally see if he can actually prove himself or not. Things like that do need to happen. And then if the turnover is going to be the same, but with 18 rookies, I feel like we're doing a pretty good job actually in the NACL to keep the rookies at a point where they can either take the next step or stay behind. Because like, one in a scenario where someone like Toasty or a scenario like Toasty, that he just went away to EU LCS or to ERLs, where yes, he gets pretty much like he technically gets a pretty similar chance compared to the NACL. I won't say quality wise in the level, but in the way that you kind of go up. Because like, yes, he may do great in the ARL, but that doesn't mean that you're going to instantly take a spot, especially because all of the other considerations that go into play. Like not even Yukino went up, even though he had a great year in KC Blue. So like I think that those things you have to take into consideration when thinking about year 1, year 2, or development with some of these players. And understand that even if it's cheap doesn't mean that you're not actually taking advantage of the purpose of the league, which is developing talent.
Yeah, and the quick example I want to throw out, like just to give perspective for some people here, is let's talk about Sajed, a player who like I would not shut up about forever. Sajed had a really good rookie year with Fly Challengers, right? We were all saying, like, I think all of us were under a consensus, like this guy was on a path where he could be an LCS AD carry. I obviously thought he could be much higher than that. Even at that point, what were we all saying? He still needs another year. Like, we still need another year of Sajed. He gets another year. He continues improving, showing that, like, what he showed on Fly Challengers was real, and now he's an LCS player. So, yeah, I'm tedious. I'm very behind, even if it's against your usual logic of throwing people into Tier 1 and seeing if they'll float. It's the logic of everybody else, so right, with power, that you need to give most players a year, even if they do have a very good first showing.
Right. And I think that a lot of the players on some of the top teams that will be ranking, like, are going into their second year. Like there are a couple of them here. who are getting into like their sophomore year into the NACL, and who I think, you know, given the development and given the resources of some of these top organizations, could get to be someone like Sajed, could make it to that next level. So I also think that the alternative, what is the alternative that people are thinking of, that there's recycled talent? Like, I think a lot of people are also super doomer on tier 3. Oh, there's no talent on tier 3. Okay, so if there's no talent in tier 3 that is worth promoting up into tier 2, and all of the tier 2 talent is just being recycled, like, what are you suggesting? I really feel like they're really...
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, I feel like that's such a weird complaint to have, because the most logical explanation, or the most logical, not explanation, but the most logical alternative would be like, get them to ERLs. And that's what happened to Toasty. And Toasty is a huge fucking loss, in my opinion, for the NACL. Like, he's doing great over there.
Yeah. Like,
Yukino is also doing great. He was in the first split of the LEC. Like, we're losing talent to the LEC. I would much rather us recycle talent that is able to, if they stay for another year, make it into tier 1 in our region, than give over our talent and have them stay over there.
I would also add to that, because obviously EU, but like I think I'm not sure who it was. I remember seeing a tweet and I responded to that person. I think if NA is not careful enough, the eventual occurrence that will happen is that eventually that will also happen with CBLOL. Because yes, they do have a good pool of talent, and yes, they do care about their pool of talent, but they are not unwilling to take talent from elsewhere. Because like, people think that the only talent that they go for is Brazilian or something like that, but technically speaking, they go for a lot of Latin American talent if they can see that it's good enough. Like, that's why there's Argentinians playing in that league. There's a few Colombian players, or there was a Colombian player in there as well.
Steps just got promoted.
Yeah, exactly. So like, Venezuelan, by the way, I think he is.
Yep.
So like, there's an instance where there's a perfectly valid universe that you actually just take the course of going to the CVLOL and try and take the step there, because quote unquote they have already been in NA. And then also, I've always brought this up, I think they have the easier path towards Worlds qualification compared to NA, even though they only have one spot. But like, to me, what matters the most is that if you qualified for Worlds, you kind of already got to the point where you can get brought over to an NA team.
Right.
And that's something that I feel like players should look into as well. But that's something that will affect NA in the long run if talent gets taken away as well by Brazil, which is a place that is willing to go for the players that they like and they know that can have the talent for that.
And it logically makes sense as well, because this is my last point, because we're looking at the talent from NA that has gone over to EU, and already we're seeing the effects of doing well in EU as an NA player compared to whatever you were doing in NA. Like, Yukino is a great example. Like, he was in NACL, did like okay-ish, has one good like half year over on KCB, and then gets an immediate 3-year offer from FlyQuest. Half a year is all it took for one solid year for him to get a huge career-defining deal that he didn't even take. Now Toasty is making it into playoffs over in EU, and like, I would be willing to bet that NA are going to try, tier 1 NA orgs are going to try and throw cash at him next year to acquire him, which is so fucking insane, because we said he was insane when he was here. He was. And now, because he's doing well in another region, that's when people's heads start to turn. Like, other prospects are going to take notice of that and jump ship if that pattern continues. And so I feel like the best case scenario is that we're recycling talent, looking to build them up and looking to promote them here, rather than shipping them over and potentially missing out on a bid toward Europe. Because if EU if EU were to give Yukino a good offer on like a top 4 team, I'm willing to bet he would probably take EU over us, which is just a net loss for the region as a whole.
Explicitly true, right? By his like refusal to sign with FlyQuest is like he just wants to stay in EU.
So
so to
such a nonsensical complaint for people.
And the thing is that
go ahead, TDS.
So I was going to say, and also to add on to that, players are also human. So if you go to a place that you actually feel like you're valued, you're more willing to stay there than go back to a place that didn't value you. Yukino, I feel like, stayed in KCB as well, because like, he was undervalued in NA. Nobody saw him trying to do anything, or nobody wanted to give him another chance, or whatever the rumor was. I don't remember very well. And then he gets an offer for EU, and he feels like he's appreciated more over there. Like, players are human; they will think, "I'd rather stay in a place that they actually want me than go back to a place that nobody wanted me,
where
and
I'm
now they
valued.
want me because I'm good." Like, that's something that that is really bad as well for NA, because a lot of players are willing to take that over just like the straight up come here and play for us for half a year because we're going to replace you for a random Korean after you fail. Like, that's not a mentality that a lot of players would like to follow, realistically.
Liquid.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, largely aligned with the points made here, especially Quax with your point about like there's this weird catch-22 that people will, even like people like in the scene will like find themselves kind of defaulting to, where like somebody like Phi Mini, plays a split on a bad team, gets relegated, and now suddenly, like, even though their stocks are way higher and they're getting recruited to like a really good team, like we'll talk about it in a bit, they suddenly like are not, like, A, like they're no longer a development piece, and B, they're like labeled recycled as though like this guy shouldn't be in the league. Like, it's
As like they are garbage or something, which they're not.
well, like the implication being that like we would have a healthier ecosystem where this guy is like totally out of the scene forever because he played a split and got relegated. It's super weird.
Because he failed once.
That said, like, Slayer referenced that I ran the numbers earlier. I did feel like I should just drop them here. So last spring, this time last year, we had like 18 continuous players, 14 returning players who had previously been in the league, were not in it the most recent split, and then we're back, and 18 brand new rookie players who had never been in the NACL before.
For first split, right?
Yes, that was the first split.
Yeah.
This time last year, 2025 split.
Which,
okay.
Yeah, those numbers are mega inflated because of near airport, and also because of like Pulse as well.
No, I
Like,
did not
Pulse
count
was,
near airport as new. I counted them all as like return.
Oh, okay.
What they are inflated by is Pulsar and AMI, both
Right.
being 5 new players.
Yep.
So the spring tracking.
Which Pulsar was a casualty of life, but like AMI was a good example of what could happen in a good, well-developed system where 5 players can actually pull it off.
Yeah, 18, 14, 18. So it was Decoy, Low Jazz, Phi Mini, Baz, Pocus, Aojun, TF Blade, Stray, Asila, Shogo, Hoarder, Wilson. That was his first split, and Only 35. That was his first split as well. And then the 5 Pulse guys. I didn't have the Pulse guys in this sheet, but
if you take out the 10 players from Polestar and AMI, right? Like the quote-unquote teams that probably shouldn't have been
I
there
mean,
or
honestly,
whatever,
Supernova
wanna...
that split too, because Supernova was running a bunch of
Right, because they were just
yeah,
full
but like
mixed.
if you take them out, even then, like you have what 9, 8 players? I think
Which
it
is what
was
we have
8 players.
now.
Yeah,
Eight new players is a good turnaround for a league that
I
is
agree.
trying to develop talent, because you cannot like just throw your hand into a bag and then find a random player.
I
like
agree.
if you want to actually
the
do
turnover
good things,
should
you have
not
to
be
actually
like 20
see them.
guys a split. Like there's not a league in the world where
Yeah.
that's true.
that's ridiculous.
Like, I don't mind.
And I don't think
mind
it wouldn't be
finding...
healthy, right? Like it would
exactly.
mean cycling guys out way too fast.
Even though I don't mind, like if you try and get like a random solo queue player, but if you do it in the off chance, like you actually see that this guy is like just one of a kind and he looks extremely good, like I am fine with that. Like one in a few where you find where you like try and pull it in where he has never played competitive, but you see that he can be a good thing. I'm fine with that. But the rest, you kind of have to do good enough scouting that you can see them actually play off, and that's why tier 3 ends up being quite important. But like that's the way that usually you see them play. You never go like for the Division 9 football player that has never played in an actual league, but you go for him. No, you actually see him first in a few different divisions, and then you actually go for him to tier 2, where that's where you develop him into tier 1. That's the actual logical way to go, and I feel like people are going over that because there's nothing shiny and new.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot of League of Legends is composed of that.
Yeah, exactly. So like that said, right? So it was 18, 14, 18 this split last year. This split, it is 22 continuous, 21 returning, 7 rookies, which I don't think is even that bad of a number. And then like you need to take the context of like within that 21 returning is Bio, Baz, Aojun, Asila, Stray, Decoy, Lojez, Adam, Hub, and Phi Mini, who were all in that new bucket last year. So
Like nearly,
so
like almost half, or like
pretty
10
much.
each.
Yeah, that's 10
Yeah,
names.
10, so-
Yeah, and then you get into
It's the second
like,
year for most of them.
yeah, and then you get into like guys coming down from LCS and stuff. Like your snipers, your UGs, your
Who don't
Zamudos.
deserve to be here.
Yeah, like Spica coming back, Cody Sun coming back, like that kind of stuff is
Yep.
like those are powerful additions to the league. You can call them recycled if you want, but you need these kinds of litmus tests, especially with like the LG guys leaving. So I mean, I think
3
there's
of
a
them.
space for X amount of those guys in the league, and yeah, I mean, a lot of your returning names are guys who played a split last year, got relegated and or dropped, and now are getting another shot. Like, and I don't think,
Yep.
I don't know. That's like
not a bad thing.
that shouldn't be a doomer. That shouldn't
Yeah.
be something that leaves you with a doomer taste in your mouth. So I'm in support of a little more positivity in regards to this split.
We need that shit. We need more
Yeah.
positivity.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, like I think there's definitely something to be said about the losses of like the LG and CNV lineups. Like I think those teams
Yeah.
were good. Those were our top 2 teams last year, and both are largely turned over. They 100% turned over for both teams. I think they
Well,
are.
LG doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, but Tomio's still in the league though.
So
Yeah,
is
Tomio's
Insanity.
So 9 out of 10 of our 10 promo tournament players are not in the league.
Insanity?
No. Insanity's
have
still
eight.
there.
Oh, Insanity.
Isn't he?
Eight.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
So Insanity and Tomio.
Tactical, Zazel, Fake God, Shadow Roamed.
as
no one knows.
are
Yeah.
Viper, Perry, Evolved.
TF
Star-
Laser.
Dude, they're busy streaming,
Chief
bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking.
Listen, I'm not.
Like,
They were some of the best players of the league. What do you want me to do?
they were.
So-
But
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest.
but
I
there's
like.
I don't know. There's exciting returning names to replace them, and yeah, I think there's gaps, there's critiques, but I think there's a lot to be positive about, and we will get into that as we get into our power rankings.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which we should do.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's kick things off. We're going to stay in alphabetical order because that's the tradition.
Yep.
We'll have everybody give out their rankings, and then we'll debate it out as necessary and just chat about the teams as we want. We're going to start off with a spicy one. We're going to start off with Apex Mission Impossible in the A's. This roster is announced, so no asterisks here, although some teams will have asterisks. I don't know exactly when I'm going to edit and drop this, and I don't know when other teams are or are not
We're
going to drop their
recording
rosters.
this
So
on the 18th. As of now, I believe it is CCG and Dorado, the only 2, or CCG, Dorado, and Supernova?
I don't
I
think
think
Supernova
Supernova's
has
out.
announced. I agree that CCG hasn't announced. I agree that
And
Has
NRG has
Winthrop
announced, right?
technically announced?
Winthrop is not technically announced, but Winthrop is
We
like,
know what- everyone
actively
knows.
competing in collegiate.
Just watch
Yeah.
Dibble.
NRG is announced as well, right?
Energy's
Yeah.
Yeah, energy did the
Twice.
most enjoyable announcement. Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
we will get to that.
the most enjoyable, and they undermined it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yup.
Content-wise, I appreciated
All
their
right.
approach.
All
Well,
right,
and
we'll
then
start.
it was Blue Otter who had a good content
All right.
one, but then they got banned. They they got shadow by Twitter because it was inappropriate.
Yeah,
or
well, we're
something.
starting. Well, AMI should be an exciting team
According to them.
because we're tier 3 guys, and if you are a viewer who is interested in new names and maybe doesn't know tier 3, this is a team that you would be interested in as well. Especially if you're one of those gremlins complaining about recycled players. Here's your rookies, boys. Apex Mission Impossible going to be running a lineup of Arbrio, Bio, Retrozing, Baz, and Protos. I'm gonna hold my reaction and hold my ranking here. I want to hear from the rest of you guys first.
Yep, I got this. So, I mean, I love that you defer to me first because you know
You're,
that I'm gonna talk a
you're all
lot,
over
and
there.
then you just want to get me.
Well, we're
out
just
of the
saying
way.
number. We're just saying numbers,
give
man.
your
You
number,
control
and then
this,
we
guys.
can
We're
talk.
just start- yeah.
Oh, you want me to go?
True.
For my first?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do,
yeah.
yes.
Left to right.
That's how we do this show.
Oh, okay. So you want me to get shot first by Cyan? Okay.
Yes.
Yup. All right. I mean, I'm not the biggest target. I'm the second tallest target, though. All right. Cyan, I'm really sorry. I have this team 10th.
Quax, it's okay. Yeah. So I also have them 10. TDS.
We'll go down
yes.
together.
Yeah.
I'll be much kinder than you guys. I have them 9th.
Okay. And then Gordo's
Well, so here's the
apparently
thing. I was
hiding.
holding this in case of a 10th sweep. It's not a 10th sweep. but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm also gonna put them 9th.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna give them a
for
little
two?
bit of credit. We always start with positivity. I'll talk on them first. Actually, you know what, TDS, you could start off if you want.
Okay, so I actually like the idea of the core that they are running. I actually think that they have a lot of positive upside if they are able to be like managed correctly in a way that I think the AMI of or sorry the I remember I forgot their name and we just talked about it. The team that dropped all their players and were bashed in social
Pulse,
media. Yeah,
Pulse.
Polestar. In the
Polestar.
way that Polestar like brought their players, the 5 new players, I think there was a lot of upside. They played really interestingly, and I think that they developed in a way that nobody expected. And I think this can be AMI as well. I'm really looking forward to Arbrio. I think Bio will have a better split this time around. And I'm also really looking forward for RetroSync. I think the top side for AMI is what I'm looking out for the most, particularly when it comes to their players. But I do think as well that they are gonna come short in a lot of situations because at this point, I feel like they are lacking a little bit of firepower, and it's gonna be on them to really show up on that. Because like when I compare further carries in the other teams, I do think that they may be lacking. But overall, I do think that this is a great opportunity for them to develop, and I'm really looking forward to their top side. I think Arbio will stay here in the NACL.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat as TDS where like I am just questioning where this team is going to be playing around, like who is going to be the carry for this team, because I do think that Baz is usually more associated with like the weak side ADCs. I think that RetroZig has a strong laning phase, but I think that his struggle has really been in trying to transition that into like mid game advantages around the map. Bio is, I think, probably their best bet. Like if I was a betting man, I would say they probably play through jungle. But the thing with Bio is that although he looks good on certain junglers, I think he has champ pool issues, and I do think that if you're trying to develop this player, it's going to be a bit inconsistent on what style he looks best on. Like last year, I felt like Bio looked really good on Nefiri and like Pantheon. And those were definitely his two best champions. And this is going to be kind of a common trend that we're going to see. And maybe we'll talk about this more as we get through the power rankings. But like, there is a very clear divide of intention here between the organizations in NACL, where you've got some of them looking to develop talent and just kind of prepare for that. And then others straight up looking to promote. Like some of these are trying to be LCS rosters. And I do think that this definitely falls on the former. So I'm not expecting them to hit the ground running compared to other organizations, just looking at their roster on paper. So that's why I kind of take this 10th ranking as kind of like a whatever, because I don't think their goal is to be winning NACL. I think that their goal is to be developing their talent and looking to see how much better they can make them and maybe make this like a long-term project. That's why I think they're signing people like Arbrio, right, who are getting promoted up, and rightfully so.
Yeah. I think so. I think when you're talking about 9th and 10th, I think there's two teams, right? There's two teams that are in their own tier at the bottom. AMI is one of them. I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find anybody willing to rank anybody but those two teams bottom two, and those two teams anywhere but bottom two. That said, I think even though you make arguments for the other team to have a little bit of some stronger pieces here and there, I think I can trap you in a prism of logic here. I think
Oh boy.
you owe Pocus the benefit of the doubt on his ability to like moneyball a roster and to coach up these players. Like I think you think about the AMI roster prior. Where are if you think this team is 10th, then where are Decoy, Lojaz, and Phi Mini, the only players missing now? Like they're all you must believe that they are ostensibly on better teams. So if you think those players have upgraded, then
You're
surely
really trying to sell
Pocus
us.
deserves a little bit of credit here. What's that, Quax?
You're really trying to sell us. You are
A little
grasping
bit,
at
like,
straws.
Look, looking on paper at the other promotion tournament teams too that they qualify over, like Cupid, which is basically the old Pulse team, the Chad, Robbie Bob, Chrome, Lotus team, Vancouver Impact was like a classic like OQ dominating roster. Like for RetroZing Protoss to qualify through that, from the opinion I had at the beginning of 2025, is really crazy. Like, I just give some stock in Pocus's ability to, like, moneyball a roster. Like, the fact that this team's, like, stocks have increased the way they have over the last calendar year or so, and the fact that they're even here with, like, some of these names that have been floating around for a while and were not really on our Tier 2 radar, like, I think it just deserves credit. And, I think it's almost like underselling what they did in 25 to say that, like, a team that is a decent percentage of either players they beat in the promo tournament or players that left this roster in the offseason are, like, going to be significantly worse than them, or going to be significantly better than them.
I don't think it'll be significant, but I do think that like this is still an organization whose biggest goal in my mind is development, and I do think that they are not go. I don't think they're going to hit the ground running. Like, I think that there are some really good teams, like especially as we get further down the line. I think the discussion, I think the variety of rankings could actually be really wide. Usually we're pretty aligned on these. Like, yeah, like usually Gordo and Slayer, you guys are usually in sync with your rankings, and the TDS and I are on the same wavelength as well. I think that might shatter here. I'm not sure yet, but I actually do think that as we get further down, we're gonna have a lot of difference.
A one team in shot call in the episode. We'll see. Listen, for me, I think there are clearly two teams that'll be 9th, 10th. So they're very interchangeable for me is what I'm trying to say here. There are just the other team we'll get to. I'm a little bit more excited about a certain player with the stability paired with another player. That's all I'll say for now. That has them a little bit higher for me. But this team does have some very valuable pieces for the idea of developing. I know, like, Protos, I think is a very high octane support player that is very creative with his champion pools. I'm trying to remember which match I saw him do it, but this guy was like rocking Heimer support games, I swear, at one point to try and make that work.
That was a while back. I did do a little exercise. I pulled 25 ACL games for all of the rookies, and yeah, I mean, you definitely see it in Proto. Like, Proto's played Anivia support, played Elise support. He had some Janna in there.
Is this guy not BLG on? I'm getting confused.
He played a Zoe support game too. Like, he's got some spicy stuff if you get deeper into Fearless with him.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about Protos. Arbrio, I'm hesitant but optimistic about. The solo lanes, I'm maybe a little bit more hesitant than others compared to like what we saw from the OQs. I am a big fan of Bio. I also do believe that Bio is best when he's able to play as a carry player. Yeah, which I do think will be interesting next to Arbrio.
I think he can do that on this team, though. Like, I think this team's good for that. I think Retrozing is like the kind of mid laner that like supports that. Like, he's a big.
I think if Protos is able to link up with him, they can do some damage.
It's very funny for me, and we'll get into this more later with more of these teams talking about jungle, because obviously we're on a new season. There's been a constant amount of changes, and there have been some changes to jungle, but I'm sure Quax would agree with me in the essence of, compared to the jungle, the jungle pool champion priority wise that we were at summer of 2025, to me is eerily similar to where we're at right now, where I still think Xin Zhao.
It's been the same for 2 years, and the champions that break the mold are characters that don't technically belong in the jungle, and then they buff them and then they nerf them like a quarter year later. So, I mean, like right now that's like Dr. Mundo. Right now that's like who else is like a jungler who should not be in jungle? Who's sure? Jace was taking over. Malphite was taking over.
Aatrox was Aatrox,
and Bessa.
So like my point here is, we already have tape on how Bio can fit into this jungle meta. It'll be interesting to see how he develops, because all these junglers are still gonna have to be playing Xin Zhao, Pantheon, Wukong games like that. That's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
Vi, God, hate Vi. So I do hope to see that Bio is one of those players to try and break that mold with some of these other changes we're talking about, because I think he is best suited in a bit more of a carry role than trying to like default to what everyone else does. So we'll have to see again. But yeah, my final thoughts is like AMI. I think the fun thing here is there is developmental upside on this team.
Right.
Am of the opinion, kind of with Quax, that split one is a lot of figuring out. I think there are two teams that will do a lot of that, and they are lower on my power rankings in that vein.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's get on to Blue Otter, who is second on the list. They just got their roster announcement out today. I just noticed if you're under 18, you might have trouble seeing it. It's been
So stupid.
Shit,
watched-
dude,
I
Beans
watched,
is
like-
pissed.
like, you have please go watch it. Like
It's
we're
funny.
memeing it. It is not. You do not need to be an adult.
No, you don't.
To
But
watch
I
the
do
roster
kind
announcement
of think it's like I almost think it's based that Twitter just goes like, this is furry bullshit and age restricts it. I think that's very funny
Yeah.
actually.
Thanks, AI.
And if you
So
look at-
AI definitely did that. By the
If
way.
you look
AI
at Slayer's retweet,
more
you
than
can see you can see a grammatical mistake or a spelling mistake that was called out by Dimitri Alkbattery.
I said violet. Violet. I was trying to say volatile. I misspelled volatile.
I think you said
Violet.
violate.
Violate. Oh, yeah. That's
Hell yeah.
whoopsies.
Instead of volatile.
All right. Anyway, this roster now announced is Ariana, Munchie, Samikin, Spawn, and Rovex. I might be putting a target on my back here. I have this team 7th.
Are we going reverse order? Oh, it's a TDS.
Whatever.
Your number next.
No
I'm
rules.
just keeping track of it.
So I'm trying to remember quickly the roster they had last year because I
It was
think
Quacker,
that makes
Kryra, Samikin, Array,
Array.
Rovex.
yeah. So I'm actually going to be quite positive about this roster. I'm taking them fourth.
Wow.
Fourth.
All right.
We're
Yeah.
so back. TDS is swinging. I
We're
love
so
it.
back. All right.
Yeah, Gordo is
Uh,
swinging, but the other direction, in my
I'm
opinion.
sorry, Blue Otter.
I
You
think
guys
seventh is much more calm than fourth.
Fully
to
bought
be
me
honest.
dinner at finals, so I am obligated to praise Blue Otter. But
I'm doing quick math in my head. This isn't good. Quax, if you already have your number, say it. I'm trying to.
I have this team 5th.
Okay. I'll put him 6th.
all right,
Oh my God, we're all over the place.
We got
what did I say?
spectrum.
Yeah.
What did I say?
I was stuck between. Guys, I was just racking my head, and I was like, I'm just stuck between. I was like, I got 6 right here. I got 7. It's just like 6 or 7.
One of the things I like the
Okay.
most about Slayer, kind of like
ending the
flopping
show.
between which thing, is that he's the one that will have to defend his opinion the most because he's actually going to be on podcast. So he will
I've
actually
actually
have
been
to
thinking
defend
about
it.
this every. I'm actually overthinking my power rankings because of that exact fact. I'm 6. They're 6.
Okay. TDS, you're the highest. You can start.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was trying to compare them to last year because I think that the roster they had last year wasn't necessarily a bad roster, but they ended up having or falling into the 8th position because a lot of the tiebreakers and things like that. Even though this roster is not the same in a manner, I think that this time around they traded the way that they will play, but I think that this is for the better because having Ariana or having much more focus towards Ariana, which I think is a carry top laner, will benefit them for the most part. And having an AD carry, which I don't think is a star AD carry, I don't think he's an AD carry that you look for into trying to bring up into the LCS, but he's an AD carry that can deliver perfectly on the as a weak side player. So if you want to play towards your top side, you have to have someone like Spawn there 100% of the time. And Spawn will be able to deliver when you need to have someone consistent. And then you have the top side to be the carry focus of this team. I still have a lot of hopes for Samikin, which I feel like Samikin sadly has entered a point where it's like high, low, high, low, high, low. And I hope that he can find like a center where he can be consistent because I think that his upside can be really good. And if he can pull that in, I think Ariana, Munchie, and Samikin can be a really scary top side, and Robux and Spawn can be a really consistent bot lane. That's why I feel like that point of focus for them can put them 4th for me because I feel like their upside is quite nice, and then the top side can be really strong.
Yeah.
So-
Gordo, you put them lowest, so you should go next.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Like, I also am comparing this to last year's Blue Otter lineup, and they ended 8th not just because of like tiebreaker BS, but because this team with low Jazz was not very good. And
Yep.
like I'm worried about Munchie. Like I just don't. It's going to be a rookie split for him. This team with low Jazz was not very good. I don't think they're very different from that team. Like I don't.
Okay, but what about this team with Kryra?
Well, this team with Kryra was great. Yeah, so I mean,
Well,
if Munchie
I-
rolls up and it's
Yeah.
Kryra too, then great. But I don't know. I've watched Munchie. Like, listen, no disrespect to Munchie, and I hope he does well. But
Well-
I've watched Munchie for a bunch of years, and I feel like he is not Kryra.
So at risk of going against the Church
a
of
good way
Low
of putting
Jazz,
it.
do you think he's better or equal or worse to Low Jazz in comparison?
You don't have to be scared of the Church of Low Jazz anymore, bro. That the cult leader is a
Maybe he's
a
playing
mobble
Mobble
wibble like, this guy ain't gonna come after you anymore. He won't even see this. I'm willing to bet.
I'm gonna. I think if I were to like do Madden rankings for these guys, I think they would be like very close and current, but I think like potential's a little higher for Munchie for sure. Although like I don't know, Lojaz is like this weird trait where he like just clutches up and is so sick in in the right series, but when he wants to be.
True.
But either way, like I think they're close is my point. And I think he's definitely Munchie at this point in my mind is closer to Lojaz than he is to Kryra. And
Hot take.
I don't think
Yeah.
Ariana for this might be a hotter take. I don't think Ariana for Kryra is Ariana for Quacker is like some massive crazy upgrade. Like I don't
No, I don't either.
like I think Quacker was always underrated. I think Quacker could play strong side when you wanted him to. Like I think he's a very good Olaf player. He's a very good Darius player. Like when he got chances to like play his pocket picks and be like strong side, I think he was quite good at that, especially when like music was on this team and stuff.
So
Go ahead.
I would think so. One of the things that made me put Ariana over Quacker is not necessarily the skill level. I think it's mainly the fact that Quacker takes longer to actually come into play than Ariana, and I don't mean in game. I mean in season. Like Quacker starts off really, really soft at the very start. Like he's very.
I think that's just because
like,
he's retired like 3 times in a row.
No,
and
yeah, I
ended
know,
up
but like
playing
that's the
anyway.
thing with Quacker. Like I don't think he's worse than Ariana by a big metric, but I feel like he starts off very like quiet, and then he starts ramping up. Where I think Ariana is gonna like try and start up stronger, and that's why I feel like for the early parts of the split, that pretty much kind of secures your spot. Because like if you win the first 4 series, doesn't really matter against who. If you win the first 4, you kind of are already in. And then it's just a matter of if you have a weaker or stronger schedule. And that's
Sure.
why I think Blue Otter may end up going in. Because I feel like they are going to have a great start, fall off in the middle, and come back a little bit at the end. That's how I see Blue Otter's split.
Well, it's
especially if it
it's-
stays BO1.
Oh, it is a
which
top.
I think
It is a top
BO3.
6 playoff. So I guess if they end 7th, as I suspect, they would miss playoffs.
Yeah,
So
right, yeah.
that is a fair point.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't know.
guys,
And
Blue Otter
just to round out my
Summer is,
roster
running
rundown,
game
I
for-
just don't think Spawn for Array is much of a change
yeah,
at all.
I'm agreeing with Slayer here. See, now here's the thing. A lot of people have doubted Blue Otter before and questioned them.
Sure.
This is a team that just seems to show up when it matters. Like this org just makes it
But
happen.
it doesn't matter. It's spring.
yeah, that's
Doesn't
that is
matter.
what I'm trying to
Even
say.
more
yeah.
important.
See, now
Yeah.
you're right about that, but I do think that this is a roster that can actually do pretty well. Like for one thing, I think largely my opinion on how well this team can play is based around the level that Munchie is going to be able to hit. Because
agreed.
this looks like a
Agreed.
team who, okay, because like let's go over here. We've got Spawn, who, as TDS has already alluded to, is a perennial weak side 80 carry, right? And I agree with that assessment wholeheartedly. And then you've got Rovex, who I think is, looking down the line, I think is maybe like a top 3 support when it comes to understanding roams. I think Rovex's greatest strength is how he's able to roam around the map. I think that he is excellent at being able to affect the map holistically rather than just being in lane and being able to dominate 2v2s, which he is also capable of doing, though I don't think that'll be a super defining trait with a player like Spawn. So you've got a roaming support, a weak side ADC, you've got a mid laner who loves playing champions like the Hui, like the Zoe, who are capable of really hard pushing waves, and a player who I think one of his best strengths is being able to understand pushing waves. So you've got Prio from mid, a roaming support, and a weak side ADC. These are all of the pieces that would go great with a jungler who knows how to carry. And Munchie is known for playing things like the Zed, for playing things like the Rengar, for being very, very opportunistic when it comes to looking for early skirmishes and looking for invades. If his team can play their style and Munchie can show up, this team feels like it'll click really well. But I think it really hinders on their jungler being able to find those moments and for Munchie to fit in with the rest of the team. If he doesn't fit in with the rest of the team, I think this team loses a lot of its firepower, especially because of the kind of Ariana woes that we mentioned earlier, where he has a tendency to be inconsistent and get caught out on a lot of silly timers in lane phase.
Hey, let's get this Masters player off of our podcast, please. You just stole my entire point. That was my no. Well said, Quax. That's exactly what I was going to say, is that the reason I don't think low jazz worked is low jazz is the laners, please take all the resources. I'm just here to be a happy helper. And then they put Kryra in, he's like, I am the captain now. And then they start winning. And then like Munchie does fit that style. That being said, I did put them, what am I, second lowest? Yeah, 6.
You're 6, yeah.
I
think 6 is fair.
I do. I mean, I classic AD carry guy. I'm back. Array for spawn is a clear downgrade to me. And then yeah, I think this team really benefited from the fact that Kryra like got the team really running. It's also Blue Otter Spring where they're hibernating. So all this stuff mixing in, I think they will be a playoff team. I do think that they will be top 6, but I don't have them as I'm rating some of these other roster constructions a bit higher. I still don't want to like allude to all my points because Gordo kind of led off the top of this saying like some of the returning players are very exciting. There are some names there that I think are like shaking up rosters a bit more for me, but I do think Blue Otter will be a playoff team. Even if things don't go super well for them at the start with how their top side is still, I assume, to be figured out. More so figured out, obviously, because they've been scrimming on their side, but in official matches.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I mean, I think that's fair. I think I agree with the roster construction points pretty much across the board. Yeah, it's just yeah, like what level do you think Munchie as a rookie comes in at? And yeah. I'm just gonna like I'm pretty frequently gonna just like bias towards I don't think with exceptions, guys.
It's also the hardest role to be a rookie.
It is, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
like, it's the hardest role to be a rookie, and I think it's the best role in the league too.
I would say top lane is probably the most stacked, but I would definitely say jungle is second place.
Oh no, I definitely think it's jungle.
Yeah, I think top is
totally
top heavy, but then I think it drops down later. I think jungle is also top heavy, but is like really strong kind of the whole way through. But I don't know, they're comparable. They're comparable for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a good argument
hang on.
for both.
If Samakin can play Ivern mid, GG.
Yeah, I guess that's the only other point. We kind of blew past Samakin a little bit. We mentioned him briefly, but yeah, it's year 3 for Samakin. I think this is the year to be consistently good the whole year. That's gonna kind of determine if this guy is like next up or if he's gonna dwell here for a while and maybe eventually get a shot like a la Dark Wings or something. And that doesn't a la Dark Wings, that doesn't mean you can't find success, that doesn't mean you can't get a second contract, all that stuff, but it means it's gonna take a while, right?
Like you just
need to, I think it's it's about time to be like dominant and like running this league and solidify yourself as next up, and
it's funny too,
it's just like it'd be weird for it to happen in like year 5. There's very few guys where it happens in year 5.
This has to be Samakin's year. Like from what I've seen in off season of this guy, whether it has been like combines or like the occasional tryout that I've been able to sit in on. This guy has been shitting on everyone. Like, seriously, Samakin looks fucking like he plays like a maniac. Like, this has to be his year, in my opinion. Like, I especially think that mid, with the exception of like a couple of players, looks relatively weak this split.
Yeah.
So
it'll get stronger in summer though.
Yeah, Samakin. If there was ever a time to take over, it would be spring. Like if there was ever a time to get like the train running, I think it would have to be now. So I have a lot of expectations for Samick in this split just because I think the strength of competition is practically non-existent, at least in my opinion, compared to his level. I'm not saying that everyone else is bad. I just think Samikin should be better.
Yeah. I'm not going to be a bitch and change my ranking, but I do, like, looking at it back, I don't think I gave enough weight to Samikin, who I do think is poised to have a big year.
I
hope he does.
Quax. That was exactly the point I was going to make. What I'll say
I'm
here,
sorry.
no, do not apologize. What I'll say here, Sammy, I adore you.
Yeah.
Here's how I'll phrase it if you're out there listening, my friend. When you are locked in, I think there is only one mid laner that you can't that I would pick against you. This split.
I agree.
If you're locked in.
Okay.
If you lock in like I know you can, you should be running almost every single mid lane matchup here.
Agree.
That's what
I mean, and frankly, like I think the ask would be to be number one, right? Like,
of course,
yeah,
of course. But yeah,
I mean, like we covered at the top of the show, if he doesn't do it, it's not like we're gonna all be calling this guy recycled garbage that doesn't belong in the league. But I think your window to be like very attractive to like tier 1 is going to start to pass. It's just kind of the way it is.
Yep.
But yeah, best of luck to Blue Otter. Still love this org. Still love a lot of the
love
staff
Blue
over
Otter.
there. Yeah.
Yep.
CCG, our next lineup. These guys have not officially announced yet, so this is going to have an asterisk on it. But you know, there's leaks floating around. The current consensus appears to be Fiji, Dardoch, Aojun, Cody Sun, and only 35. I have this team.
You heard that right, everybody. That's Cody Sun.
Cody Sun. Famed CNV promotion tournament sub, Cody
Famed
Sun.
Tristana best world, Cody. I had to get one.
I swear, after he first went out of the scene, I would have never thought he would return like this.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
I
don't know. I mean, who because I mean, it's been like 6 years or something, right? Anyway, I have him 6th. I have the whole team 6th, not Cody Sun specifically.
I have them 5th.
I have them 6th.
I have them 6th as well.
Wow, guys.
Slayer.
Consensus. Good job, guys.
I'm the contrarian.
All right.
I guess I guess I'll go first, right?
Yeah, you're the highest.
Are all the same. Yeah. So from what I've been, so I will say this. No, I'll get to that in a bit here. This team has a beautiful mix in my mind of the class. I think I do this spiel legit every single one of these Power Rankings episodes.
At least every time.
This is on paper beautiful blend of veterans and upswinging rookie second year guys. Well, I guess rookie and second year actually, they both fit in that category. That I think should work very well with the leaders that are a part of this team. So I am pretty high on this squad. Obviously, Dardoch in the jungle. It is very clear, we've seen it split after split, that he is very good at getting. I think he's been best when he's been put on. Well, I think back to the last time he was on CCG, like a roster with some pieces that you need somebody to get the best out of them. You need to help them lead. I think that's when he's been playing his best. He still did well in Supernova. I think he was second team All-Pro on that split, so he was very good. Dardoch's still very locked in. I've heard that Dardoch and Aojun are a really good pairing. Like, looks up to him as a leader.
Dardoch
I think
said on
Aojun's
this
played
show
best.
how much he liked playing with him. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Thank you for saying we could just CC the salt mine instead of voices. Yeah, so Dardoch here has said how much he likes playing with Aojun. That's very big to me. I think all of us here have been talking about Fiji for a while as a very interesting top lane player. I love his energy. He's a very infectious person to talk to. He's also a very good player. I'm very glad he's getting his tier 2 shot here. I think he will be able to take advantage of a top lane pool that I do think is, like Gordo said, very top heavy, pun intended, but there's some room for him to really prove himself here. I'm excited about Fiji. I am one of the people that love only 35. I am a sucker for those support players that say, bro, my health bar is malleable. I'm just here to make plays. I'm going in. yeah, I love those guys. Also, only 35. Again, I will be giving points to personality. The guy's hilarious.
Yeah,
It's
only
great to get him
35 is
True.
fucking funny. I mean,
Yeah.
He is.
it's funny too because to add on to that point about the bot lane, like that is the big thing for other than Dardoch, I think, who is going to be like the perennial leader of this team, and I'm really excited to see what he does against other junglers in the scene. It's always nice to have Dardoch in the NACL. That said, I think that from what I've been hearing about Cody's son, this guy has also been kind of demolishing people in like combines and stuff. Like
Yeah.
from the footage I've seen in off season, Cody's son will fuck you up in the laning phase. So this feels like a match made in heaven for the strengths that both of these players
Yep.
have exemplified, which I think is not only really good that their styles are on paper going to work really well with each other, but also looking down the line of a lot of the other bot lanes, most of these ADCs, I think, excel in the team fight / scaling department, aren't necessarily the greatest in lane. I do think that when I'm looking at a lot of these bot lanes, I don't think a ton of them are going to be demolishing you in the first 10 minutes of the game. I can see like maybe one, like two or maybe three of them doing that, but for the most part, Cody's son and only 35 are the bot lane that I'm looking at to load into the game, go level 2 mid bush in bot lane, like that middle bush adjacent to the alcove, and then level 1 fight you. Like that is going to be like if we had like a high school popularity vote of bot lane most likely to fist fight you level 1 with the bushes, I would say Cody's son and only 35 probably win that vote like 99% to 1. This is the bot lane that will fight you any day of the fucking week.
Yeah. So the final point I'll make on like the whole CCG thing for me is the vibe and the small things that I have heard around Cody's son coming back that have me optimistic is that he is very much so locked in to treating this as like, I want to make a run at, the dream again, he's very, it sounds like his little stint in the promotion tournament with Conviction might have reignited the competitive fire in him. And if that is the case, I'm very afraid for the rest of the league. And I also do think a player of like his magnitude, even if it isn't to the highs of those many years ago, will complement a player like Aljun, who I think, likes to play champions like he's like a big Hui guy. He likes to play kind of slow in his earlier lane. Fiji's a chaotic demon topside with his tanks and bullshit. Cody's son, only 35, can play, like Quax said, pretty aggressively early. And Dardoch is the puppeteer behind the scenes. So I think this team meshes really well together in a lot of ways. And I think that if we do not even get like, we're not going to get, I mean, we could. But it's unlikely we get the return of the great Cody son of those, 100 Thieves teams and of before. Even if we get like a fraction of that with him locked in, this team could make some noise. That is why I think I have them top half.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's like a world where the veterans on this team are really good, and like Aojun takes a step up in year 2 and split 2 too, because he didn't even get to play summer. And then suddenly like this team is really, really dangerous. Like Dardoch has been running this league for the last year since he came back to jungle. He's real, like, I don't know. I'm a Dardoch fanboy at this point, man. Like, this guy's a great leader. He makes great teams.
Just say you want him back on the show, bro. I'm sure he would accept. All right,
Yeah,
you don't have to glaze him too hard. Just ask,
man. I
bro.
don't know.
There's a good chance of that.
Yeah, there's a decent chance. I do want to talk about Fiji a little bit more. Fiji, I agree. The word interesting came up earlier. I agree. Fiji is interesting. Fiji is actually the reason I went and got all those like ACL stats of like champions played, because I wanted to validate what was already like a gut feeling I had. And like Fiji is the weak side player to ever play weak side, man. Like he had played 74 ACL games in 2025, and it's like Ornn, Sion, Gragas, Cassante. Played a lot of Singed.
I wonder how a player like that develops into.
I know, so it's one of those things where it's like in tier 3, this makes him kind of a unique prospect, actually. Like usually the top laners coming in are the Arianas, are the Hoarders, Arbrio's a little more balanced, but Arbrio's a little bit like this too. Where
Yeah,
it's like
these
they have
Lammy
these
Jacks
really
that could
strong
carry the
carry
game.
performances. Yeah, like they play really strong Jax games. They play really strong Gwen games. They have like some pocket picks that are really impressive. And
Everyone has Aatrox for some
yeah,
reason.
and usually it is like the weak side tanks that they don't pick because they have historically been like the big carries on their teams because they have been the tier 3 player that was destined for tier 2. Fiji is not
Fiji.
that. And has always been much more of a weak side guy. He has, I'm not going to say he can't play these things, but of course, he played all 3 splits of ACL last split. No games of Rumble, no games of Jax, no games of Renekton, no games of Gnar. Like, he's just been a very different kind of player. And when it's a rookie coming in, you always have to ask, like, does he play weak side every game because that's something he can do that very few players will do at a high level at this level? Or does he do it because that's what he has to do? And
Right.
this
Yeah.
is, yeah, I mean, and playing in the league is the only
good
way you
question
find
mark.
out the answer there.
Yeah, I
That's
feel like
something that like better teams can exploit too. Like if you're
Yeah.
constantly putting on weak side, you know that Dardock's probably going to be pathing away from him. Like, bro,
Yeah, you don't want to be
like,
the guy that they can like blind
in the
Gwen
vacuum of
against.
space,
Yeah,
no one can
that's a
hear you
problem.
scream type shit. Like your team is like you're gonna be fucking demolished in lane like every time. You're gonna be level 3 dove by like. Can you just imagine like
Yeah,
Kay
like,
is
that's
gonna
gonna
be playing
be-
like Rumble. Yuji's
Yeah, like-
coming through. You know, Spyrax he hits level 6 on the rise. Boom, like rookie
Remain
tier
gank.
realm warp over to the top lane. Let's dive this motherfucker. Like I
Yeah.
think a ton of teams can exploit Fiji just constantly being the weak side. So we need to
if
see
that
a
is
little
how he
bit
is,
more
yeah, like if he stays that
dimensionality
way.
from him because in tier 2 that shit's not gonna slide. Like,
Yeah, like, if
you're not
you-
gonna be able to weak side every game without being punished for it.
Yeah, you
And
don't
that-
want to be playing the grudge match against Blue Otter and like and Ariana gets to blind pick Gwen against you or whatever, right? Like you do not want to you don't want to be in that position.
this also creates a scenario where if Fiji is like that, then this team may depend way more on Cody-san that we were already like highlighting because like we already are highlighting Cody-san, right? Like you already are making it like
That's going to be
he's
their
going
default
to be the
even
big
if
carry.
Fiji is a good
Yeah, no, that's
like,
the default. But the
balanced
problem
player.
with that comes from the fact that if you know already that he's gonna suffer from that, and if we're kind of already making it out that top lane is going to be one of the most stacked roles, then how hard can Cody's son carry some of these games, right? Because if you have let's say he plays Ornn, which Ornn has great utility, but then the enemy's playing Gwen, 7-2 win against a 5-0 Kaisa on Cody's son. Like he has to carry games really heavily against a 7-0 win if he gets fed like that, right? Like that's the sort of thing that could happen if Fiji is put in an extreme island like that. I will say though, I kind of think that this team for that sort of playstyle, yes, he may get exploited, but I feel like for the current times, I don't think exploiting top lane as heavily will worry you as much as if you get exploited in bot lane. Just because I feel like
100%.
for some of the bot laners, it doesn't matter that much. So I think that for CCG's current or for the current meta, it may not impact CCG that much, and that this may give opportunity for Fiji as well to develop into a player that may not carry you the game, may not get a huge lead, but become a stronger weak side player, a player that understands timings as a weak side player, understands not only his role but the way that you need to play it so that you don't become a massive liability. And those are the sort of things that you do get more experience on if you play more times on that. So it's gonna be interesting seeing how he goes into it. But I just want to add, this is the top side that I'm most excited about because it's the top side that can be the most win you or lose you a game. And it's not by their carry performance, it's by how much can they impact the way that the rest of CCG has to play around them. Fiji and Aojun as well. Aojun, I have high hopes because I feel like he's, like you mentioned, it's a great control player. And I think that the partnership that he had with Dardock is something that we didn't touch much on, but that partnership was great on the first year of Aojun. And I know that they can try and replicate that, especially now with more experience on Aojun. But then also Fiji, because like if he becomes a liability, this team may just implode because you cannot only depend on Cody-san to carry you, because Cody-san will have his moments.
Well, that's
And
the
that
other
also
thing,
will lose you games.
That's the other
Yeah.
thing. Players on CCG, nobody go read Cody-san's Twitter. That's it's just gonna
Yeah.
make things worse.
Yeah.
Well, now they're all going to read it because you said something. Like, you only have yourself to blame. When
That being
someone
said, I
never
have
gets
good
a
hopes
chance
for them.
before,
I
though.
put them sixth for a reason, so I know they can qualify. But like,
This is your
depends.
fucking fault. This is your fault, bro. I hope you know.
So the last thing I'll say with CCG, because I do want to like put in 2 cents about the Fiji thing. First of all, totally agree that 1, it's exploitable as play style, and 2, if he wants to develop, like if he needs to develop another edge instead of playing like. I don't necessarily think like saying weak side as a whole it is like non-weak side
Things
champions,
other than tanks.
Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, exactly. Quax is like other than tanks. So Fiji, if you're out there, buddy, if you've been watching some LPL, there's some weak side top lane players that got really good at Yorick, and it works. So I'll just say that I think it's very hard to play Yorick comps in tier 2.
Fiji does have a Yorick.
Fuck, I love that. So lean into that Yorick a bit more. Yeah. Second thing I'll say, I am still happy a player like Fiji is coming into the league because we have had so many top laners that are like Gordo said. It's kind of like the NBA fallacy where it's like somebody interviews like an NBA bench guy that never plays. It's like, oh, you never play. Like, did this happen to you before in your career? It's like, no, dude. Every guy in the NBA was Mr. whatever state they came from. Like they were the like they were the best player on the like they were the best player. Like that's what a lot of these top laners had to do before, and that's why we've seen a lot of them play carry. I'm happy, as weird as it sounds, that we have a dude who was just like, nah, you know what? I'm just gonna get so goated at playing a weak side tank and playing like team fights well that at some point somebody's gonna have to give me a tier 2 shot. Like we haven't had a guy that I think fits that mold come into the league in a while. Like yeah, like that's not a hoarder. That's not Samudo. That's not. I don't know. I guess he's like Philip. He kind of reminds me of Philip.
Even Philip has Phillip. Even Philip will play a Jackson or an Renekton here and there,
or maybe
right?
Faisal. Like maybe Faisal.
Faisal, I think, is a little bit more like that, but
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like, I don't know. I just hope, and you know, Fiji occasionally, you know, he'll play a little Aatrox, he'll play a little Ambessa from like here and there if the situation calls for it. And I do think he gets creative in that he has like the Mordekaiser and the Yorick, and like he has that Singed. Like I think he finds ways to like work within that.
Dude, Singed is OP.
He finds ways to work within that box, but his Gragas is also quite sick. He's a very good Gragas player, and you know these all have like neutralizing qualities that will let you play weak side even in situations where it's possible to punish you for playing weak side. But yeah, I mean, it would be I think in the best world is the one where like he can pick the Rumble if you leave it up, and like that. I think that would be the best for him. All right. Anything else on CCG,
4.
or can we move on to Supernova?
We are an hour in at 4 out of 10. Let's go.
Well, we spent 20 minutes at the beginning, though.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So, let's go Supernova then.
Wait, I thought we were doing it
alphabetical, sir.
Yeah. Why do I have Supernova here?
It's Conviction next
It
year.
should be CNV. It should be CNV.
Yeah, Conviction.
Yeah, I just have Supernova on my list twice. I don't know how that happened. Probably something auto-populated. CNV instead. So this is one of the first teams to announce this roster is Sniper, Tomio, Insanity, Meech, and Breezy from top to bottom. I have this team first.
Numero uno, sire.
TD?
So I think it's interchangeable for me. I have them. I think they're first.
Yeah.
But it's very interchangeable between first and second.
Quack.
But I'll put them first.
I have this team second.
Ooh, he's making the call.
I think it's first.
I agree with TDS. I think there was one team that had me thinking.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we all know who it is. But
I might have a little bit of a hot take. Then.
So for me, Conviction are a team where I think the reason why I have this team second over first is because some of their strongest pieces are like I think it's a bit of a question mark on where they left off at their point in their career. Like I felt like Sniper in particular, like last time we saw Sniper, this guy was benched for Dokla and then 100 Thieves made it to Worlds. Like that is a very big turnaround from a very minute move.
We're skipping a
So
lot of steps there with that one, but you're technically correct.
we are, but
It's
I'm
like
TLDR.
he gets replaced, question marks, get to Worlds.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
we don't worry about the No, keep going, Quack. Sorry.
Right, but it makes it sound worse than it is, honestly. But like Sniper, we haven't seen this guy in a really long time. I think he's rank 1 right now as well, or something like that. So he's obviously been grinding solo queue and very clearly has the desire to get back into the LCS. I believe he even tweeted like, "I'll be back there soon" or something like that. So this guy wants his fucking seat back, which I'm very excited to see if he's at that level. But the fact is, I'm just a bit more iffy on him and Meech and Breezy more than I am my team that's at first. So, like, I think that there are a couple more question marks that I have about this team and the players individually at their current level that could maybe make them slightly worse than the other team who were alluding to being interchangeable.
Enough. I'm not against the reasoning behind it. I feel like this and this brings me to a major point. I feel like this split, there's a lot of proving yourself in a way for a lot of these players, because it's not like they are bad. It's not like you don't know what to expect from some of them, but because there's now like a need to make a jump because of the promotion tournament as well. Like there's some question marks that do need to be asked for some of these players, and also for the ones that are returning. Because like for me, this team, I think it's first, particularly for two things. The first one is I think they have one of, if not the strongest mid jungle duo, because I always value that a lot. I think you have to have a strong mid laner to always win, and then you have to have a really strong mid jungle duo. And I think Tomio and Insanity are that. Insanity is to a pretty big degree, I would argue, top 3, if not top 2 mid laners in the league, just because he consistently just destroys you in a lot of ways.
He's
yeah,
top
like
1 for me.
I just make the argument to not like straight up call it, but like pretty much he can be. And then I feel like Mitch Breezy is going to be an extremely good bot lane. Breezy already has shown that he has he has improved so much consistently on each step, and I feel like Mitch, the last taste that we have from Mitch was awful because it was a decaying team that did not like put a lot of trust in him in that process. And there's a lot of things that we don't know, or at the very least, I don't know what happened behind the scenes to like cut him off at the time that he was cut off or thrown behind the scenes. But I still think that he has a lot of like great qualities that an AD carry needs to have. And I think that in this team, he can show it really effectively, especially with Breezy and Tomio on his side. So I'm really hopeful for this team. I feel like my biggest question mark is Sniper in the way that he will play.
Yeah.
But if all comes together, I feel like this team just has a lot of the qualities to having a number 1 team. And then I also think that Tomio and Insanity will be able to carry them in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I shared a lot of the similar sentiment that Quax. I respect. Well, I'll wait to hear your number 2. I think you're a smart lad. You've been stealing my points tonight telepathically. So I think if your number 2 team is who I think they are, I will respect this choice. I resonate with your very clear critiques on what level
I'm
we're going to get out of Sniper. Skepticism, yeah, right, better word. I personally am buying Sniper. I'm there with you with some of the skepticism. I'm buying Meech stocks like they're hotcakes. I think this guy's going to come in and play very, very well. And then I'm also the guy where I'm willing to levy the statement here. Breezy, NA support pool, man, is still a little bit wacky. We lost Busio, brother. If you keep improving, I see the arc to tier 1, man.
Get in there, bro,
I've been very impressed ever since we were praising him for playing. I will never forget Gordo talking about I think it was the AoE Breezy. Was it mobility? The Breezy mobility lane that was like way above gold share, even though AoE was like a trash ass roster. Like they were really bad.
Yeah, the AoE that imploded like 10 times. Yep.
Yeah, but like the team was really bad, but like Breezy was playing really well in lane, and I was like, huh. And I looked into it, and then Breezy made the jump to a better roster, and he got better, and then he kept getting better, and now he's on another really good roster, arguably his best roster, actually, with the mid jungle that they have. So Breezy, man, like
he's been I would argue this is the first time he has a really good shot at number 1, actually.
Yeah, 100%.
I put him number 2, but
no, I mean like
agree.
on paper, this is like the best roster he's had for a number
Breezy
1
Link.
shot.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna
Gordo.
slam down the gauntlet right now. I think that 2 of the best pieces Conviction has in Sniper, and Tomio are gapped by my number 1 team. The people in their positions on their team are worse. So their best players are not the best in their position. In my opinion, it's close and it's potentially interchangeable like we've been alluding to. But I do think that the 2 players that are the most hyped up for being the guys that bring the big guns are not the biggest guns in their respective positions.
Yep.
True.
Well, that's interesting because the strongest reason I like this team, I think both their players are number 1 in their roles, which does in fact include Mr. Breezy. So Breezy and Sandy, I think, are very, very good, and then I think Meech will play very well. I now know your number 2 team with what you just said, but still, like Tomio top 3. Yeah, I think this team could get 1 in spring, even if we don't get a great sniper performance.
I agree with that.
So
yeah, I will go. I will follow that. I think they will excel in spring. I think they fall short in summer.
they could. Gordo, your thoughts?
I think I agree mostly with what you guys have already said as far as the individual players go. The only thing I'd add in is I think it's worth calling out, like, Tomio and Sanity are a duo coming back from last year, and Meech Breezy are an old school duo. Like, these guys were on like CLG Challengers together and stuff.
Yeah.
Good shout.
Apologies if this got said while I was gone. But
It did
Is it
not.
like one of the few rosters that has a bot lane that has played more than once together? Because like I was looking at it and I think no other bot lane has played.
Yeah, on fucking God, you're right. Yeah.
Like no other
like
bot lane has
Scary
played
Jerry
with
and
their partner
Sinitus have
more.
been playing together for like the CLOL season, I guess. But
Well, yeah,
But like
NACL
it's not it's not like you
Not
have
counting
like
the
obviously
CLOL
Scary Jerry and Psycho, like they played 2 years together, or Scary Jerry and Psycho and Syed, like
the only
right.
other one I'd bring up then is that like Baz and Protoss have been laning together since AMI got relegated, and which is like
So that's the longest one
to summer last year. Yeah.
That's a great point, though, to you guys. There are a lot of hilarious divorced couples.
Yes.
With their new boots.
Yep.
We're recycling, bro. Marriage counseling didn't work.
There's actually 4 of them, technically.
Yeah, 4 partners here.
For broken.
I was going to bring this up. I actually couldn't bring it at the time, but I thought it was funny that it has happened twice. Well, I don't know how it happened, but it has happened twice to Winthrop now that they've stolen their support. Because because it happened with what is his name with when they had Winsome, they had it for the split, and then they stole it, and now only 35 gets stolen from them as well and plays against them.
I actually do not think
it's not
this
a
is
steal,
a theft.
actually.
No, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know
Winthrop
if it
made
was like the
change,
same thing.
and then only 35 found a new team. I believe.
Yeah, I don't know
is
if it was the
order of
same
events.
thing. I just find it funny that Winthrop has played against like ex supports in the same split right after they got them. So like it happened with Winsome and then Winthrop. Right?
That
it's
is
just
very funny,
really
but I
random.
do think it is worth calling out that like at least within like the Winthrop doors, I believe that they made the change.
It's a willing
that came
change.
Down.
Okay.
Yeah, like they made the change that came down first, and then only 35 signed with CCG. It happened in that order, not the other order.
Yeah, better that than what happened with Winsome, 100%.
I just thought of a hilarious content idea off of the piggyback offing this. Secret Lives of I don't know how else we could do it, but Secret Lives of Mormon Wives joke, but it's with bottom lane pairings because everybody's just swinging.
Well, what about
a bunch of
did you guys see that like Valentine's Day special content piece that FlyQuest did, where like Masu was like discording with Busio overseas while he was on KC, and then Cryogen is like, I'm gonna go surprise Masu, and he's got like flowers and chocolate and shit. He like walks into the room, sees that, and he's like, "Oh, are you cheating on me?" And he just runs away. And then Casey follows up by like having all of them going like this, but then they're like down the hall, and then one of the other members is down the hall with the same pose. I feel like some of the teams could do something like that if they weren't online completely, but
there's bits to be had for sure.
There's bits to be had for sure. Content.
The first thing I thought of was duos actually, but like that probably is much better.
This is a universal call to every single organization. Please do content. I know it's spring, and I know a lot of people don't take it super seriously, but do content. It does wonderful things for your brand. That's just my canary crying a coal mine.
That's your call to action. All right, let's get on to Citadel. Citadel Gaming. This roster already announced. It is Bradley, Griffin, Asila, Array, and Stray. I'm gonna be the first one to say it. Ole Missadel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
pretty
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Cinemas.
Sharks in a castle.
Cinemas.
I have this team 8th.
Seventh.
I
will jump in seventh.
You're in there, seventh.
Okay, yeah. I'm stuck between two numbers again.
Stun lock.
I'll go 8th.
I said
I'll go
8th.
All right. TDS
Yeah.
highest.
Hey, so I'm the only one. I'm the only different one here.
I like how we're halfway through the list and we're only at C, by the way.
That is
Yeah, there's a
funny
lot
thing
of
to point
Cs.
out.
There's a lot of C's.
Yeah,
Like-
this can pretty much describe
like, what the fuck?
the level that I think the roster will be as well.
That's
the
also,
C,
yeah, that's
but,
also
like,
my roster evaluation.
so good enough, I guess.
We're gonna get over halfway in, and we're only get past D. We're
Yeah.
gonna get
As
6
well,
in
by the way,
and
it works
D.
with D as well with the valuation that I'll give them. But like in this case, so for me, I was not expecting anything out of this roster. I'm still not expecting nothing out of this roster, and I think they'll be one of the most mid rosters I think I've seen. And comes from from someone that has said a lot of good things about Ole Miss rosters previously. I think that this roster, the main points that I'm taking out are Bradley and Array, which I think are going to be the most important highlights for them. When I kind of fall short on them, has to be jungle and support. I think those are the 2 points where I'm really out with them, and particularly jungle is where I feel like a little bit worried the most, because I don't know what to expect from Griffin. I don't think he's probably going to be bad, but the like there's 7 junglers that are better than him, and that already, like, if you have a weak jungler and a weak mid laner, because I don't think that Asila is going to be the strongest either. Probably weak is not the best word, but like I don't think you're going to have a top jungler and a top mid laner. And for how much I value mid jungle, I think this roster is gonna have a lot of issues. And then I don't think the carries that they have are gonna be strong enough against the carries in other teams that are gonna be above them either. The only one probably is Bradley, because I feel like Bradley top lane was a great thing, but even then it gets really worrisome. And then I don't have absolutely no expectations out of Stray. I don't know what to
Right.
expect out of him. He may be a great support, but Array cannot play the lane alone. And if a Stray doesn't come up, then you kind of lost Array there as well. And that's a big issue
So wait,
for
really
this
quick.
roster.
One quick thing that I just realized I probably should have said already. This is Griffin, Griffin, formerly Wiggly.
Yeah,
Not
not
Fly
the
Quest.
Griffin
Not the
that
other Griffin,
jungles
yes.
for FlyQuest in the LCS.
No.
Important difference, but yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
much
And-
where I'm standing on.
And this is kind of I'm going to levy a
Oh
similar
wait, actually,
criticism-
sorry, Quax. Just before I finish, because I forgot, I put them 7. So I said a lot of bad things. I am not with you guys where you're at 8. I'm at 7. The reason why I put them at 7 is because I think there's a roster that is below them, which I always put at this point. So that's why.
I think I know who it is. But
Yeah.
okay. So for me, the reason the thing that I levy against this team is very similar to what I said about AMI in regards to, like, I'm questioning the win con, because this is, for all intents and purposes, this is Ole Missadel, right? And Ole Miss always operated under Shogo's carry potential. They don't have Shogo anymore. And you might be saying, okay, well, this is a program that, or this is like a roster, like a stack that has existed in fall. So they have practiced together. Okay. To that, I would say, A, we haven't seen it. They disappeared from CLOL in the latter half of 2025. So it's been a while since we've seen the Ole Miss banner. And 2, they're going up against much stronger competition in the NACL. Okay, I do not think the 2 leagues are comparable, frankly. The thing is, I just don't feel like this team has a carry that I am convinced can really put them over the finish line. I think the most evident one is like probably Array, but I'm not convinced that Array can be like the big carry for this team yet. I do think that there is potential for him to prove me wrong. He did do very well at Blue Otter last year when they got third in playoffs. So I do think that there is definitely the possibility for him to prove me wrong. But like other than that, there's just like a lot of unknowns. Like I feel like Bradley switching back to top lane, he's dropping in on a competition that I think is really stacked. I think top lane is. I will hold on to the belief that I think top lane is the strongest position holistically in the NACL. I know Stray has played support in the past. It's been a while, and I don't know how he's going to function with Array. So I'm not putting too much stock in the fact that this is technically a re-roll swap back to his original position. And I'm just really not high on Asila. Like I think that the common consensus for NACL, no matter what you argue as the strongest position in Tier 2, a lot of people won't fight you on what the weakest one is, and that is usually mid lane. And I think that even when mid didn't look good last year, Asila wasn't able to do a ton of damage last year when we saw him. And I haven't seen anything that convinces me that he is really fully upgraded. I'm sure he's gotten better, but I just feel like he's going to have to be a lot better to move this team up from where I currently have them. So there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of players that I'm on the lower end of, but who could end up doing well. And I just question who is going to be a solid carry on this team.
I think I don't. It's weird because I also have them 8th. But I think I'm a little more optimistic. Like, I feel like Bradley and Array, between the two of them, can, like, piece together, like, one of the two can be on in a position to succeed, even if I don't think either of them are the guy you want to, like, have to play through every game. And really, I mean, you don't want to have to play through the same guy every game anyway. Like, I think there's carry potential to be had on both of them. Bradley, I feel like, needs his meta, and it doesn't feel like it's currently his meta in top lane. Like, when Bradley was, like, looking like he could be next up, it was TL Bradley getting to play, like, Gangplank and Kennen, like, every game. And that's just, like, not what top lane looks like, and it's looked like for a while. And, like, I think once it transitioned and TL Bradley started having to play, like, Sion Cassante every game, then it, like, I think that's when the fall off happened, right? So I think we're closer to the latter than the former. It doesn't feel like you can really play Gangplank Kennen every game right now. But if the meta ends up shifting in that way and there's a lot more opportunity for him to play like hard carries, I think that will be when you can play top lane like mid lane. I think he looks and feels a lot better. I think Griffin has had like some impressive OQ runs, and like when this team was playing as Peach Cats in ACL, obviously with some differences, it was still straight top lane and they had Obstinatus as support, but it was I think Griffin looked good. I think Griffin has looked good in recent showings, so I don't think he's like cooked as far as the jungle pool goes. I think he makes it like he contributes to it being a strong jungle pool. I do think mid jungle as a duo will prove weak. I share the skepticism of Asila and his ability to perform at this level. He played an LRN last summer after exiting NACL after spring. He was not really anything to write home about in LRN. Granted, that league had Seiya in it, who's Mexican faker, but still, he was not like he was not demolishing folks in LRN. And listen, I know it's a new era and CB LOL is kicking our ass left and right, but I still think that LRN being not much to write home about is a pretty good heuristic for who's going to do well in North American competition.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep mine kind of brief because I do think a lot of the points that I would have had have kind of already been aired out. I just think this team is a lot of there's a lot of what if. There's like a lot of variance in it's hard to like gauge what we're gonna expect from this roster, and that has me worried, and that's why I have them decently low. Like the only thing I feel decently reliable about is that if Array can be protected late enough into games, he will win them games. Like that is what I am most confident on. But I do fear that is very one-dimensional. I also I also not necessarily fear, but I also believe like they're gonna try as a team to do different things than that. And in spring, when it's a lot of the figuring out time, not a lot of stuff's gonna stick very quickly. So I have them 8.
I think that's fair. I think
Yep.
we can move along there. Try to keep the episode going. Dorado Gaming getting into the D's. And this roster, another one that's not announced. So we're going to be...
And it's another D.
Yeah, so we're going to be making some asterisks here. But from what I hear, the roster is likely to be Decoy, Low Jazz, Adam, Hub, Redemption. And with that in mind, I have this team at 10th.
Yeah, I've
Have
got
this
them
team
9th.
ninth.
Yeah.
I have them 10th.
Okay. So let me just get this out of the way first. I have heard that this team, or this org, I should say, had it really rough when roster building. They had tryouts that
I
was fortunate enough to sit in on in like I think like the first or second day. Life was kicking my ass that week, so I wasn't able to actually co-stream a ton of it, which is regrettable. But like after that, some like shit happened, and like I don't know exactly what happened, but like all I know is that this organization just had a really difficult time when it came to roster building. So like, all things considered, I actually don't completely hate this team. Like I think that there are a lot of positives to it. I really like Hub and Redemption being a duo. Redemption is a support that I have been high on ever since I laid eyes on this motherfucker. And
It's
Hub,
Ducky Getters.
yeah, and Hub.
Oh wait, it wasn't Ducky Getters. It was the sequel.
it was
to... No, it was still Ducky Getters. But
No,
it
it
was
was
like
Ducky
season
Getters.
It was Gen 2 Ducky Getters.
Gen 2 Ducky Getters, no hiccup. And then Hub, as far as I know, wasn't he supposed to be retired? They brought him back for one last job. So, you know, credit to Dorado for doing that. This team, I think, is going to run through bot lane. I think that while Decoy, Low Jazz, and Adam are good players in their role, they are not the people I'm looking at to be carries. So I think kind of similar to AMI, I do give them a lot of grace for being able to bring up players that should rightfully be on that like edge of tier 2 and be in the NACL. But I am just questioning how they are going to facilitate that. The reason I'm being so much more kind to a roster like this compared to like Ole Miss / Citadel, despite putting this team lower, is because this team is very clearly built similar to AMI, where they are focused on building up talent and they are focused on being able to be that org that isn't concerned about promotion, right? They're looking to facilitate talent and bring up these players rather than make it to the fucking LCS.
Yeah, I share the I share the excitement for a player of Redemption's caliber. Listen, the fact there is always that silver lining when it comes to unfortunate like struggles with roster construction that you can maybe find you give a shot to a player who could end up being like a really big gem, right? And I do think Redemption has those qualities. Also, I think first of all, want to get this out of the way. If he was playing any other role than support, I would be mad at his name. Redemption is just the perfect name for a support
I know,
player.
right?
Even if the item wasn't in the game, by the way. Like, I would say this. Redemption, like, come on, that's just a support player. So
yeah,
he is more of an engage guy than an enchanters guy, though.
That's fine, though. I just think, like, Redemption, like, you know, like, he played, like, word association game, like, asshole, 80 carry, Redemption, support. You know, it's like,
yeah.
So he passes that bar. I also, you know, do think mid jungle is a fun conversation. Because I think Adam is a very aggressive, resource intensive mid lane player. From what I've seen from him, you know, mostly outside of tier 2. And Low Jazz, I think Low Jazz and Adam do complement themselves very well. I think that could be a strength for them. Is on top of that, I think this roster is a good mix of players that have either flashed, you know, some big moments in NACL at points like Hub, like Adam, Low Jazz, even Decoy, and then throwing in again a role that is in desperate need to be continually bulked up. Like we will always say, support could be stronger in this region. A player that I think, from the what I will say is like limited knowledge on tier 3 supports, I have heard for a bit people wanting to see him get a tier 2 shot, and happy to see that he is.
Yeah, I'll call out that Adam, Decoy, Low Jazz is a trio that has existed before too. The last version of AMI before the one that promoted with Phi Mini had Adam instead of Phi Mini in the lineup. I considered that an upgrade when they did that swap, and I still probably would consider it an upgrade today. But it's worth pointing out, like, there's a little pre-existing mid-jungle synergy to be had there. I mean, I think for this team to do anything, it needs to be Hub and Redemption, like, kind of overperforming their current pedigree and being, like a top half bot lane in the league. I don't think that's very likely. Yeah, I mean, I still have hopes for like Adam to take the next step up and be, a competitive mid laner here. I think these spring splits are the opportunities to do it because I think the pool remains relatively weak. But I'm not really holding my breath here. I think I don't know. I'm interested to see what a lot of these Cupid guys look like not on that lineup. Cupid / Pulse / Slated 6, because like Bio Adam were a duo for the entirety of 2025, so we haven't seen them apart from each other in a long time. I'm curious what they look like, and that was with
Good point.
Dr. Calc in there too. So yeah, I'm curious to see what they look like apart from each other. My current opinion is that I think Bio was mostly the only way that team could win games against high-level teams towards the end of the run. But you never know. People change when they separate. TDS, you in here, brother? Did you lose internet or something?
I think TDS is.
He might be boom.
I think that is the unfortunate reality.
All right. Well, we'll see if he comes
he's
back. We can
connected.
continue. Any other Dorado takes?
I mean, I do think that. I mean, one thing to mention is that this roster is coached by Thin Uncle Phil. I do think that we haven't actually had a ton of talking about coaches thus far, but like, I think that having Thin Uncle Phil will be nice in the long term. I don't know about the short term. Like, I think that this team, regardless of what coach you have in spring, probably isn't going to be able to like crack top half, but I could see them making significant upgrades to their play as the year goes on. So I think that if anyone can do it, Phil can do it. I have hope that this team can be a long-term project. And I don't expect them to hit the ground running, but I do think that these players are all very interesting. And again, I'm really happy about them bringing up the bot lane that they did.
Yeah. I don't got much else more on Dorado. I'm glad the Thin Uncle Phil shot, though. Good to see him still coaching NACL.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, we'll get TDS's missing rankings when and if he's able to return, but it's getting late, so we're going to continue. Let's continue with Maryville, who are up next. Welcome back, Maryville, as a name and as a squad who had to requalify.
Hilarious that we for the alphabet game we're playing, we went like A, B,
we went to
C,
D's to M's.
C, D, M.
Yeah,
just skipping
the middle of the alphabet, getting left out to dry here. That's what you get when Luminosity left, I guess. But anyway, Maryville's lineup is going to be K, UG, Spyrax, Scary Jerry, and Obstinatus. I have this team second.
Wow.
I thought that was coming. I was.
You smelled it?
My spidey senses were telling me. So I think the top four is a very fun convo because to me 1 and 2 are close, and then there's a drop, and then like 3 and 4 are close.
And then there's another drop.
For me, a slight drop because I really like CCG, but yes, a drop.
Well, TDS has Blue Otter in 4th, so clearly that's not a consensus.
yeah, without a doubt. Whew, this is tough for me. When these two teams match up, the other one we haven't talked about yet, it's going to be. I will put Maryville third. I'll put him third.
I have Maryville fourth.
Yeah, I thought that might happen.
Wow.
Yeah. So the reason I have this team fourth is, to preface, similar to what I said about Dorado, and a lot of the teams that are ranked toward the bottom half. This is a team I believe can go
Yeah, the Otter.
can go really high as the year progresses. I am really okay. Listen, now I do have to preface this by saying I think Yuji is probably, yeah, he's the best jungler here. I think Scary Jerry is the best AD carry here. And I think that Spyrax is like a top 2 mid laner 9 out of 10 times here. That being said, while I have no doubt that these guys are going to be able to dominate their part of the matchups, I am not yet super convinced on K, and I think that Obstinatus still has a couple of hairs in the soup with his gameplay. So, like, those are the two pieces where I'm kind of question marking. Like for K, I think that this guy, a lot of people last year when he joined Maryville and was in the NACL, a lot of people were comparing him to Zamudo and what Zamudo kind of brought to the table that K is lacking. I think this year it's really going to be up to K to show his most prominent features as a player, because while I do think he was good in laning phase, I do think that K really struggled to bring a lot of the effectiveness that like Zamudo had toward team fights and towards side lanes. I feel like it was very difficult for him to, once he got a lead, transition it into something really meaningful on the map. So I think we need to see K kind of improve that. And then Obstinatus, if you guys haven't watched Div 1, I think that he's good. But like Scary Jerry is a very high octane ADC. So if there was an ADC to learn from, I feel like Scary Jerry would be like that one master in like an anime who would absolutely not give a shit about his students' progression and would be like, if you keep like, you better keep up with me, or like I'm leaving you behind type of thing. Like I can totally see Scary Jerry just looking to try and make outplays on his own without any regard to Obstinatus's position. I think Obstinatus is keeping up with Scary Jerry feels like it'll be a tall task. So I wonder how he's going to adapt to that over the long term.
Sorry, Slayer, you have MU third, right?
Yeah, I have him 3. I
Okay.
put him 3.
Yeah, sorry, I just didn't get it down earlier.
So yeah, again, this will be very fun to talk about when we get to the team that I think it will be in close contention with this squad.
Mhm.
But looking across the board, like what it boils down for me is, what do I think the biggest strengths of Maryville over the last couple years of dominance have always been? And the answer is the Mongolian monster. It's always him. Yuji's the best player in the league. Okay. So I am willing to give a roster that in other places I think is lacking compared to, one, Maryville teams of past, and two, compared to the other team, again, that I am not saying yet that is in contention for this spot for me with them. I am willing to give grace because it's Yuji, and I also think if I had to say an answer that wasn't Yuji, I would probably say Spyrax, or I would say Scary Jerry, right? So that core 3 to me, I think they have deserved some more grace when it comes to should they ever be out of the top 3 conversations. You know, key, and it's also the fact that Maryville is just a team and a college and an org that, when you go there, like, who's the last player off the top of your head that went to Maryville and you saw them play and you went, I think they actually aren't improving? I actually think Maryville has not developed this play.
I do have an answer for that, but I feel like saying it.
Yeah, I think it's Crimson.
Do we
right?
want to say? I mean, like,
Oh, okay.
I think it's Crimson. Yeah.
Okay, so 90% hit rate.
that was not
Very-
me. That was not what I was gonna say.
Oh, really? What was
but
your answer?
What's
Obstinate.
your answer?
I feel really bad saying it though.
Okay. well,
I was okay. Fine, I'll say it. I was gonna say Shimmer.
I think Shimmer
Yeah.
got better. I don't think he became like top of tier 2, but I think he got better.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between like becoming really good and like not developing, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
I also
think Shimmer's still good, by the way. I
Yeah.
don't want that to be
Like
like
I think
a
he
Yeah.
went from like a perennial tier 3 player to like Vancouver Impact brought him in as their new jungler, like over the guy they qualified with, right?
Yeah. So,
But
like that's my point, right? So on top of that, I think it is. I think like Maryville have deserved the right to for me to assume Key is going to get better. Obstinatus is going to develop.
Right.
Because there are no signs from them that this doesn't happen. And with all that in mind, that's why I think that they will be top 3. And this team, obviously, like UG Spyrax, mid jungle. If they're mid jungle in the NACL, and I'm saying they can't compete for the title, it's got to be the most stacked NACL I've ever seen. And that is not what it is. So
I think that
this
they
team
can. I just feel like the side lane pieces are going to take time. And I do not think
I
that
agree.
spring is going to be where they hit their stride. I could
I agree.
totally see summer being like a year where they just dick everyone down.
so
I agree with you. But that's just like, I guess for
Right.
like the peak conversation is
Right.
why I'll never have them out of
Yeah.
they can't be the winners.
So I have
yeah.
to like I have to be like the more gassed up version of Slayer here. So I agree with all the points on UG, and then I think like with the addition that like UG Spyrax as a duo have been like perennially some of the best in NACL, like basically since they were both rookies, and even then they were like top 6. Top 8 maybe, I don't remember exactly, but this is a much more competitive era of academy anyway, back when they were brand new. So they've been great for forever. I think they have a lot of pre-built synergy. Spyrax does not really seem to have lost a step. Like I kind of thought this guy was pseudo retired, but he still looks pretty damn good, at least from what I've seen of him. I do agree with this Obstinatus critiques. Like I think this guy must be impressive in solo queue. I am obviously not playing at his elo, but so I have no first-hand accounts. But people were hyped on this guy, and people are positive on him. And I have not really seen it in comp. I agree. Like I watched Scary Jerry Zyko for a long time. I watched Scary Jerry Cryogen. Scary Jerry Obstinatus does not have the same juice. Like it just they just do not. And it could be Jerry's fault too. It maybe if Obstinatus in a different duo would be very different. Although I was not really blown away by him plus Array on that Peach Cats lineup before he moved to Maryville. Anyway, so it's like I think they lack some of that bot lane firepower that like the most dominant Maryville teams with Scary Jerry Zyko had. I still think UG Spyrax are set up to be dominant in a weaker league. I am cautiously optimistic on K. I think since he moved to the Maryville campus and has been playing on Midwestern Ping full time, he has really leveled up. He's looked really, really good. Off of like when he's playing, I believe he's Colombian. TDS would know this.
He is.
Okay.
No, he is Colombian.
TDS would know this. Okay. Yeah, versus playing from Colombia, like I think that's made a big difference for him. He's talked to us on ACL interviews about that making a big difference for him. And he's looked really, really good. I know I'm undermining my own argument here, but I am cautious about getting strayed again because this show last year, I was all excited for Stray coming in with the Ole Miss lineup on Supernova, because Stray was another LATAM top laner who I had just watched clear some of the best top laners in the NACL in ACL fall playoffs, and then he was not very good. And K is the exact same story. K just came in ACL. I just watched him beat Tenacity and Hoarder in like some of the last competition these guys played, and he was tearing them up. But he did win a title, by the way, there. So I'm cautiously optimistic for him, but Stray has damaged me, so I can't be 100% in. But I am optimistic for K, and I think he could be. I'm not gonna put him like top 3, but I think he could be top half.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I again, one of the most fun storylines for me this year will be the competition between 1 and 2. Can 3 and 4, they're going to duke it out in my power rankings. How do they challenge? Yeah. And I think there are 4 teams that could win the spring title. I guess I'll say that.
I
now.
agree. Yeah.
I'll also say K is a guy with tier 1 aspirations. Like, he wants to go pro. Like,
Yeah.
talking to him in interviews and stuff. Like, it may have to be CB LOL.
Not a bad look right
Not
now,
bad. Yeah,
my friend.
it doesn't even seem like that's that bad. So, yeah, high hopes for this guy. I think he could surprise people. Like, this could just be like another split where Maryville is like a perennial top contending team, and K is one of the best top laners in the league. Like, I think that's in the cards. All right, I think TDS. All right, TDS has Maryville too, so he's with me. Thank you very much to TDS. It does seem like he has lost his service throughout his whole area, so best of luck to him. But it looks like
Rest
we're
in
gonna
peace.
be rounding this one out with the Otter. Let's get on to NRG then. Unless you guys have exiting
No.
Maryville points.
So I have this team first.
All right, this is Quax's first team. NRG is Zamudo, Kizno, Phi Mini, Sushi, Spica. I have this team third.
Number 2. I got him 2.
Number 2,
So-
and TDS has them 3. He is also with me.
I guess I should explain why I have this team first. So, for starters, I think that this team has the strongest top jungle in the entire league. They have the strongest top laner and the second strongest jungler. I think that Kizno is slightly below Yuji. Kizno looked so fucking good on DSG when he was there for the couple of weeks while he was subbing in for Kryra, so I feel like that carries a lot of weight in my mind. The big question mark, though, is obviously this bot side. I think that Phi Mini is a really good mid laner rather, that has like a lot of potential. The big thing for me, though, on what is going to make the difference is this bot lane. I think that everyone would probably agree. Like, we have some grasp of how good Phi Mini is and how good he can be. We are very familiar with Zamudo and Kizno's level. Sushi, this is his sophomore year. Spica, he's going in at support. Like, for me, the big tell of this team being able to be first and be uncontested in said position is how well Sushi is going to be able to fix his laning phase. I think that Spica is a player who obviously has a ton of experience to be able to help him in that regard, but like, we have been saying since this guy, made headlines in tier 3 that Sushi's biggest, most difficult demon to conquer has always been the laning phase. He's very good outside of it, very good in team fights, very good at generating gold around the map when it's more open. But in 2v2s, he has a lot to be desired. So if this team can fix that for him, and put Sushi into that next up category, which I do think is probably their goal. I think that Parth has vocalized very lofty aspirations for this organization as a whole. That is going to have to be the way they do it. I think the energy can make Sushi better, but is he going to be better is what I think separates them from being top 1 and not top 1.
Yeah. They have two of the best players. Ooh, actually, never mind.
2 tier 1 players, simply put. Zudo and Kizno
yeah.
should be in LCS.
Yeah, I almost
Agreed.
said something crazy. That I was gonna say jungle top. They have the best in the league, but I forgot about UG. My bad. So they have Zamudo's the clear best top laner in the league. Kizno is number 2 jungler for me. Phi Mini, we talked a lot about Phi Mini last year and the upside we saw in him. So like, this is a fun moment for Phi Mini where it's like, hey man, huge sophomore leap. The more I think about it, like we talked about, all you bullshitters with the recycled garbage thing, can you focus in on the fact that we have so many like sophomore players that are like positioned to take huge leaps? I think that's like something we talk about more. Phi Mini being like a crown jewel of those players to step up on this roster. I would like to spend my time in classic marksman fashion and do a little spiel to Mr. Sushi. I spent years, many splits on this podcast, preaching my love for the player of Sajed. And not because he's a great player, but because I manifested it with my words. He is now a tier 1 level 80 carry. So I'm here to tell everybody that everyone was wondering, right? It's like, God, who's Slayer gonna like get up next to the LCS? This is my guy. This is my new guy. Because Sajed, I can't talk about him anymore.
I hope so.
He's big leagues. Sushi. I went back and watched a couple clips because me and Gordo were working on something. So I rewatched like a lot of VODs of Sushi playing on near airport, and then playing, and then later on in the year. This guy's clicks, man.
Yeah.
This guy it's just like every like in those fights, man. It's just everything is correct. Like I will never forget watching that Vayne performance. Like his Vayne was just so filthy, like weaving around all these guys, like forcing multiple flashes to get kills. I agree with you, Quax. Like there is room for improvement in the 2v2, but I love Parth. I love what he's done with Saito. I like Resvan coming in like is a coach that I think very highly of. Sushi, he's such a great personality to mold into like a tier 1 player. He just checks all of the boxes outside of the game and the innate natural ability to be a marksman player that I'm like here to say, man, like this guy will be a tier 180 carry of this region that we will be cheering on if everything goes right. And I think most of it is positioned for him to go correctly, and a lot of it's going to come into this year, my man Sushi.
I feel like part of the reason you're saying this is so that when it eventually does happen, you can go back to the VOD or you can go back to the YouTube video, cut the clip, and be like, "Oh, I told you so."
That's good. That's
Quax,
that.
I've already
This
Quax,
entire
sweet,
show
sweet
is clip
Twitter
farming,
revenue,
dog.
bro.
Yeah.
Quax, I already have the Sajed talk clips like
Bro,
clipped off.
playing the
has a big
long game,
moment.
I respect it. You know,
yeah,
it's muscle culture here.
But yeah, so Sushi, my friend, I think the stars are aligning for you. You've got the talent. This is your year. Like tier 2 wise, 2026 is your year. Even if like you're not on NRG in the spring, like you could pave a path to tier 1 here and make, even in this wacky ass NA world where like too many people are getting ignored, not enough people are tier 1 players, I think you could do it. So
Bro was on that double
look
lift team, you know. Everyone is behind him because of the near airport hype.
He
Gave like
he
the
got
most
double
golden
seal of
retriever
approval.
energy I've ever seen from a human being ever.
Yeah, for sure.
And then my last point on
go
NRG really quickly, sorry, Gordo, is that Speak at support's going to be hilarious to watch, but that guy is so unbelievably talented at the game of League of Legends.
He's so
that,
smart.
Like, it's just going to work. Like,
It's just
work.
like I've said this before, dude. Like anybody can fucking roll swap to support. If you are an established pro player at a different position, swap to support anytime.
Actually, I don't think top laners could do it. That's the one rule I don't. But I agree with
Stray
you.
did it.
Well,
Stray went to MSI doing it.
there are a lot of top laners that could not do it.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, there are. Who else has even tried?
I don't know. That's why I'm saying this. Partly. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't really think of examples who have tried, but I don't know. It feels doable. Yeah. I don't know. If you're like an established professional League of Legends player, and you would also have to support, I just assume you're going to be successful doing it. Like, I can't even like think of players who failed. It's been done a lot of times by a lot of players in a lot of positions. And
even the player that I thought would be like it would fail, and I was on here saying he would fail, in Manui, like he even
Manui
like,
crushed it.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he's not
Manui
in the
crushed
league, by the way. Especially with support being as weak as it is. There's definitely a big Manui shaped hole in this league. I hope it gets filled in summer. That sounds weird when you say it out loud, but
it's hilarious out of context. Yeah,
that's a hilarious soundbite.
I'm glad you commented on it.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, it's what were my other points here? Oh yeah, so energy. I have them third. I have them lowest. I'm with TDS. I mean, I think this is a top 3 league. Like, I think that's its own tier. Like, I think this team is definitely in contending for title status. I would not deny them that. I just think of the 3, all 3 have risks, and I think the NRG risks are like the biggest and most prominent. Like for conviction, you talk about like Meech is coming back from a bit of a hiatus. Yes, he played ACL and he was top 3 there and he looked pretty good. But will he be the Meech of old that was getting LCS looks? Who knows? And obviously Sniper coming down off of a pretty poor year. Going to be the big question there. For MU, it's K and Obstinatus. For NRG, it's these rookies that I am very excited about. Not rookies, but these sophomore year players that I am very, very excited about in Fi Mini and Sushi. But it's like, these are your carry positions, man. Like, I just think if these guys in Fi Mini's case, it's split 2. In Sushi's case, it's split 2 too. Like, these guys did not play full years. Maybe for Sushi, it's split 2.5 because he played a couple of games subbing in for Double Lift. But these guys are not even at year 2. These guys are at split 2. Yeah. If they're not ready, if it's not there yet, it doesn't even mean it's cooked for them. But if they're not there yet, I think they can be a drag on this team that would stop them from winning. Right? That could lose them a series to a Maryville, to a Conviction, and make them not number 1. And that's pretty much what makes me put them at 3rd. Love Zamudo, love Kisno, think Svika can roll swap to support, no problemo. I don't even have a fucking doubt about it after having seen so many people swap to support already. It's just the risk factor. I think Fi Mini and Sushi are risky pieces, but I'm very glad that NRG is willing to give them this opportunity. I think this is the best way to accelerate these guys into being LCS prospects, is to put them on a team like this. And salutes to NRG for doing it. But I'm going for accuracy here, so I'm going to put them 3rd.
Yeah, I don't have much more to say about the team. I think they'll be 1st.
Yep. All right, let's get into the next 2. Supernova is an interesting lineup. This is another lineup that's not officially announced, but from what we've been hearing, and has even changed, what we've been hearing has changed in the last couple of days, but I believe consensus right now is Hoarder, Music, Shochi, Levitate, Zyko, with a asterisk on it. Assuming that is the lineup, I have these guys 4th.
I have them 3rd.
I have them 4th as well.
So I think that this team and Maryville are quite interchangeable. Like, I think Energy Conviction are paired up. I think that Supernova and Maryville are paired up, and then I think that Blue Otter probably stands alone for me, and then it's kind of everyone else. I think the reason why Supernova are 3rd for me over Maryville is because of the people who are leading the macro charge. I think Music and Zyko are 2 of the most cerebral players that I have ever seen. Like, Music is known for his shot calling. He is known for being a very smart, proactive jungler who is able to lead teams. That's part of the reason why he was so successful on Blue Water, and why Blue Water was initially so successful was because of him. And then Zyko as well, I think, is another support who is, been around for a while and is definitely going to be able to direct the team. And then just the mechanical upside of the rest of the team, I think, combined with the already, crazy shot calling of the jungle support, like, this team might not be 3rd out of the gate, but the potential of this team is really high. Like, when you think about Hoarder, when you think about Shochi, when you think about Levitate, these are guys that have fucking hands. And I think that as long as you have Music and Zyko there to police their decision making, this is a team that I think is very well balanced in that regard. My biggest concern is definitely going to have to be the laning phase for Hoarder and Shochi, though. I think that this is probably something that could knock them down a peg a little bit, because Hoarder is very good, but I do think has a tendency to overpush on side lanes from time to time. It's a very similar issue to Ariana, though I would say maybe not to the extent of a player like Ariana. I think Hoarder is a little bit less, I don't want to say egregious, but a little bit less exploitable in that regard. And then I think that Shochi sometimes has had some questionable laning phases when he was on Dorado. So I think this team is just well balanced, and I feel like the upside, I'm willing to believe that this team's upside can be unlocked in spring.
Yeah. When I heard it, because this roster has obviously been kind of shaking around a bit in 2 roles, like allegedly.
Yeah.
The updated one is why I actually think it's enough to, in my mind, think that they could compete for a spring title compared to who they could have had here. Because I'm a very big fan of putting music next to Hoarder and Shochi. I think like his style with what we know Hoarder for with the aggression balances really well with music, and then I think Shochi's flexibility as a mid laner to play a lot of chameleon styles. Music will be able to resonate with maybe trying to play outside of the obvious meta junglers we already talked about, like supportive pieces when Shochi wants to get fucking crazy, like we always know he can. And then I feel like this is Levitate's best support pairing in a while, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I guess that's
probably his
how
best support pairing ever. I think
Probably.
Zyko's awesome.
yeah. It's either him or Rovex, right?
Yeah,
by
and
this
I think
point.
I have Zyko
So-
higher than Rovex.
Yeah.
I do as well. And I always back a guy like Levitate. This guy is constantly playing solo queue. He's constantly trying to get better as a player. I tune into a lot of his streams, so I'm glad to see that he allegedly might be back in NACL. I agree. This is a team where I don't expect their like a lot of these players is like peak value to be able to compete with maybe some of these other top 3 rosters, but I do think their overall foundational balance leaves room to the fact that if they can gel very quickly in this spring split, they could be like they could win the spring split here, because
Actually,
we know.
Question
Yeah,
you,
go
Slayer.
ahead.
Depends how high you are on Cryogen, actually.
Oh well,
Mhm.
that's a little awkward. Yeah. So listen, he's paired with another. I'll say this right. When Levitate played with Cryogen, was Cryogen at the point we felt like he could be a tier 1 support? Because I don't think he was at that point. Whereas with
I
Zyko,
still don't know if he's at that point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with Zyko, we do feel a little bit more, clear on where he's at.
Yeah.
But again, like we know it's been a while, but we know what Shochi can do in the mid lane if he can access back to that peak. I think that I once again think Shochi is a very big X factor for this team, because I still believe in the ability that he showed when he first got into the NACL. And if he can play back up to some of that with his very creative champion pool, this team could end up winning the title. I don't think they will, but I have them in that category as a dark horse, you will.
Yeah. I think Dark Horse is a good way to put it. I would probably label them as similar. It's
Yeah,
also a Bach roster.
It's
Bach,
also a what?
you know?
Oh, a Bach
It's a-
roster. Yeah.
it's a Bach
Shout
roster,
out to
you know?
Bach. Yeah, another
Bach
friend of the
is-
show.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Bach is known for putting together some rosters that just seem to work.
Yeah.
So,
So I mean, my thoughts are that, like, first, thank God Zyko's here, right? Because we don't have Manui, or we don't have Manui or the holes that he fills. We don't have a very strong support
What?
pool.
He what?
that was the reference to the bit earlier. Um,
Yeah.
we-
Say that again.
No. and listen, support pool is weak, bro. Cryogen's gone. Diamond is gone. Zazel's gone.
Zazel's gone.
Yeah, Manui's gone after having just gotten in there. It's a weak pool. I'm very happy that Zyko is still here post graduation. And I think he's a great duo with Levitate. Levitate deserves this so much, man. He has been such a grinder since getting dropped from Blue Otter. He's had some great ACL splits. He won his second ACL title with Whole Milk, with Cryogen as his support. He made a run to finals, winner's side with Manui as his support. He has been so good in ACL throughout 2025, so he's going to be, I think, like this year's litmus test for how much does ACL success predict NACL success, and I hope the answer is yes, it does, despite Levitate's beliefs. Because then you interview Levitate on ACL and are like, what do you think it means for you to be able to win this event? And he's like, I don't think it means very much.
Classic Levitate answer.
So. I hope Levitate proves himself wrong a little bit there and is really good. Or he could attribute it to how much solo he grinds or whatever. I don't care. Hoarder's a gift to this team. So I mean, I think like their ability to like break into the top echelon and be title contenders comes down to music and Shochi. I think Music is coming off of a down 2025, kind of a bummer year for him, especially because like I don't know about you, like remember when Quest did that poll, like who's up next at the beginning of 2025, and like Music was like a top 6 guy on that list. Like people,
Yeah, but the thing is,
like people were really hyped on Music coming into the beginning of 2025, and he had a
I think
bummer
that
season
Music
all
is.
along on 2 different rosters.
I think that Music is like very. See, there's like 2 different sides to Music, in my opinion. I think that Music, regardless of meta, is able to keep up with the cerebralness of his play and be very good at shot calling and directing teams in a macro sense. But when carry junglers are around, right? When you've got things like Graves, when you've got things like Viego, like when those champions are there, like Music is able to be the carry. I think that there are a select few champions where Music will absolutely crush you. When those champions aren't meta, I think that Music takes more of a backseat in the carry department, and we haven't seen those characters that I just mentioned be like the perennial picks for like tier 1, tier 2 for a while. So I think kind of just relegating him to the stock standard junglers that we have had for basically a year now hasn't done him any favors. I'm not saying that he's bad on them by any stretch of the imagination. I just think that he is better on champions where he can be a carry, and those haven't been around for a while. So I think that he has been kind of relegated to more of a shot caller and more of a director rather than a carry, which has not unlocked him as a player fully, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'll give him the excuse that like the shit that went down with ISU last year was pretty fucky, and I'm sure it introduced some chaos into his life. That sucks, you know.
It'd be like that.
It do be like that, but like if he wanted to use it as an excuse, I would be like, yeah, that makes sense. So I'll conjure it up for him right here, and I don't know if he would agree or disagree with it. And I mean, like, I think Shochi's kind of in the same boat. Like, if Shochi shows up like he did, like, again, I feel like an old man, like, talking about Cincinnati fears Shochi now with Perry as his jungler. But, like, I think that was his, like, peak, you know, when he was jamming, like, marksman mids every game and was, like, really taking names in what was a more competitive era of the NACL. And he was, like, a top
Katarina
mid laner
mid,
in that
never
league.
forget.
What was that, Slayer?
I'll never forget the Katarina mid pick too. And
That too. Well, I'd rather forget the Katarina mid pick, but
I won't, because I hate that champion, and I'm glad he sucked on it that game.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. So like, he was like a top 3 mid in a more competitive era of the NACL. So like, that's his peak. It's been a couple of years since he's really been there. I don't think I would say Shochi had a down 2025, but I don't think he had like a crazy. Obviously, he didn't get to play spring, and then. He qualified in summer, and Dorado was all right. They had a big upset over Dark Zero. I think that was kind of the highlight of their season. So if Music and Shochi hit their peaks, this team's right up there. I just think it's like feels like it's under 50 odds, right? But fourth for them. Fourth for them. And I hope Levitate and Zyko kill it in the bot lane.
Me too.
I do too.
Yeah. I love Levitate, bro.
All right, let's get into Winthrop. TDS is a hater. He has them 8th. I have them 5th. This is Winthrop's collegiate lineup. It's Denethor, Wilson, Sword, Mobility, Kim down.
I have them 7th.
I have them 7th as well.
Wow, I'm the Winthrop lover out of nowhere?
So this is me being a Winthrop lover, because historically I have been.
Yeah, I actually think this might be the highest I've rated Winthrop going into a split.
Yeah,
it's definitely the highest I've rated Winthrop going into a split.
I have kicked Winthrop to the fucking curb every time we've done one of these. I have had Winthrop like 8th through 10th, straight up. So I'm kind of like done doing that. I am fucking done doing that. It's speech time, motherfuckers. I think that this team. I'm done doubting Denethor. I'm done doubting Mobility. I think the big thing that convinces me of this team's ability to actually perform is similar to what we said about Only 35 and his pairing being a lot better with Cody's son and how they'll be aggressive. I think that the pairing of Kim down is going to be a lot better from Mobility.
Agree.
I even though I think that individually and actually even together, like I thought Mobility and Only 35 were a good duo, their styles were kind of like oil and water. I feel like Mobility is a player who is very good in team fights, is very good at being able to be a carry, like 2+ items into the game. Whereas Only 35 is just like aggression all the time, every single hour of every single day. Those two didn't, I feel, mesh as well as they could have. Here, though, I think that Kim Down is a lot more willing to play the game slower, has more experience than Only 35 as well, being on Team Liquid Challengers, and I think this just complements Mobility style better. So you're unlocking one of your biggest carries, I think, a lot more efficiently by pairing him up with Kim Down. I think Denethor is continuing to get better. I'm still never going to, for some reason, be sold on this Trickster sword mid jungle. I think that Trickster had a good split end of last year, but like as a confluence, looking at the other mid jungles, like I just, you cannot convince me that this is going to be a mid jungle that can actually contend with some of the top half teams. I'm sorry.
I agree that they can't contend with the top half teams, but I do think they clear the bottom half teams. As
Depends on what you're looking for. I mean,
yeah, like I think they're better than Griffin Asyla. I think they're better than Lojaz
Sure.
Adam. I think they're better than Bio Retrozing. I think they are probably by default better than Music Shochi unless those guys level up. That makes them 6th. Like I don't.
Your sword, Trickster sword over Music Shoji, really?
yeah, that's some bullshit.
That's the yeah. You can take that either way.
Well, I'm taking it the other way.
Yeah, I'm taking it. Yeah,
you can take it the other way. I think, like, based on performances from 2025, though, I think that is what I would say. Yeah, especially because Wilson had a great 25, and Sword had an acceptable 20. And Sword didn't get in his way.
Also, wait, are we? I thought he was fully Wilson. Have
He's
we gone
Wilson,
back
I'm pretty
again?
Yeah, like, okay,
There's
dude, this
something,
guy
like,
needs to
I've seen
decide
stuff
on
that
his
says Trickster.
fucking name.
Yeah, I don't
I
know,
think
man.
he's decided on Wilson. I don't think everyone else has got
Wilson, Wokao, Trickster.
It's Wilson.
I'm gonna just start calling him, like, honestly, bro, just put streamer mode on in official matches, and then we'll just call you by the champion at this
I'm gonna
point.
start
Like,
calling Lojaz by all his screen names.
That's the most color caster comment I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, just put streamer mode on. We'll call you by the champion. Quax, you trying to get me fired, bro?
who fucking cares at this point, bro? Like,
Well, you want you can teach an AI bot to say the champion name in the game. You trying to get me replaced by
could.
AI out here, dude?
You could.
No, I'm kidding.
I mean,
I'm
if you teach an
But
if
you
you
can
teach
never
an
teach
AI
an
bot,
AI bot to say obstinatus correctly.
nope.
True, you could
I
never
was
get
about to
that
say,
one.
who do we think is the hardest name for an AI chatbot?
Obstinatus.
to
Dialfeng
pronounce?
Ren. Dialfeng Ren. That one's pretty hard.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
pretty hard.
Okay, sure.
I feel like they'd fuck up
I'm
K because
cheating.
we fuck up K. One of you called him Key.
I mean, I probably called him Key at the start too. Yeah. Back on point here. I do. Is this mean to say? I wish Denethor and Mobility would get better rosters. I just like I don't.
It is a mean way. It's a mean way to say it. It's not a mean opinion to have. I do think you've said it in a mean way, but
Well, shit.
Oh my
Okay, listen. Maybe I don't know. Like, I'm obviously the guy that likes Only 35. I thought Only 35 and Mobility were doing a lot of good things. I didn't want to see that pairing broken up. But I don't know. I just think.
by the way, every
Like-
CLOL program in North America that isn't Maryville has that thought every season. Just like, man, I wish
Yeah,
we could
I
get
know.
better
That's why it's like.
roster.
That's why it's like me to say. And I respect the loyalty. I mean, they're getting their education there. Like, that's awesome. Good for you guys. Prioritize that, right? Like, this is the most volatile bullshit ever in tier 1, tier 2 developmental league. Like that. I get it. However, like, if you put Denethor on Conviction, I don't think they lose a series. like I don't know, man. Like, it's just like
Yeah.
I think this team is going to be better than I've ever ranked them because I think Denethor and Mobility are just a cut above a lot of what people are trying to throw out of replacing, especially Mobility with the 80 carry pool right now. Like what 80 carries outside of like Scary Jerry Sushi? I mean, not even sushi. Like, outside of what? Outside of who? Like, honestly, like I think you can make an argument that you would take mobility, like compared to last year's form over. Almost, you could make the argument for every AD. Like I'm sure some people,
Dignitas did.
Yeah.
Like Dignitas could have had any of these
yeah.
guys, and they took mobility.
Yeah. So like I just that's the thing, right? It's like he got a shot. You know, gets a shot with Dig, and then he comes back and is playing with the same top side. That. You know, I'm being a little bit too harsh. Like Winthrop had a very fun split one playoff run. Like they almost knocked down near airport. Like this team can show things, but like I know the ceiling of Winthrop is what I'm trying to say. Like with this roster construction, and while I've rated them lower in the past, I am very confident that this team will, you know, maybe sneak into playoffs. I don't think they will. With my power ranking, and then maybe get bounced by one of these top 4 teams. So I think the Winthrop analysis is very similar to most years, and I am not of the highest opinion of Kim Down ever since he wasn't really able to perform very well on those UCI teams. So that's where I'm at with Winthrop.
Yeah,
and I've now officially been stamped as a Throps hater.
I think Kim Down has gone on like an interesting like odyssey, and found his way back to a carry that he could leave alone while he goes and roams around to like make plays. Like he's found his way back to Arrow after a couple of years away in the form of mobility. Right? He spent some time with Spawn. That duo never really worked out. That whole team never really worked out. He spent a couple splits with a Nori B, which I complained about the whole time was like just this weird mismatch of like styles that never really jived, right? He played with Globby, who was like, who knows what the fuck Globby is for a split, because that guy just appeared and disappeared. I haven't seen him since the Split 1 promotion tournament. Yeah, and then he played with Daption on Dorado Black, and it did finish top 6 in ACL for what it's worth. But like, I feel like this is the most, not only the best, although I do also think it's the best. I think this is the most complementary bot lane partner to his style that Kim Down has had since Arrow, and I think that will serve him well. So I think that actually could be like a sizable upgrade, and if we get like a like peak TL version of Kim Down, then he's like the third heavy hitter on this team, I think. Yeah. And that can be enough to push them to top 4, maybe. I'm not going to say they're going to like be chip contenders, even if Kim Down is really, really good. I think that's hard to do with this mid jungle. But yeah, I think that's just why I'm a bit higher. I think I trust the judgment of this staff and presumably of mobility. I'm going to be honest. I bet like mobility had a lot to do with this in the decision to go for Kim Down over Only 35. And Only 35 was a lot better than Chookies. So another upgrade in the bot lane when you already have a really strong 80 carry, I think bodes well for this team.
Yeah.
All right. Well, final word here. I'm going to go rank our aggregate rankings, and we'll give you the Salt Mine Pod aggregate rankings here and give any silly thoughts that we have on it. So it does look like we have Conviction at number 1. Hang on. All right. So we have Conviction at number 1 with an average of 1.25. We have Energy at number 2 with an average of 2.25. MU at number 3, 2.75. Supernova at 4 with an even 4. Blue Otter at 5 with an average of 5.5. CCG at 6 with an average of 5.75. Winthrop at 7 with 6.75. Citadel, Old Missadel with 7.75 at 8. And then AMI and Dorado are tied at 9th, 10th with 9.5 apiece.
That's about right.
Yep, I think that's probably pretty close to community consensus. I don't think we're going to have any real hot takes there. I do think that playoff cusp looks interesting, especially now that I've reminded myself that it is 6 teams in playoffs. I feel like there are 7 teams that I would be like, I will be surprised whichever one of them misses playoffs. I'll be like, damn, that team missed playoffs. It will probably be like one of Winthrop, CCG, or Blue Otter. And I will be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in agreement as well. I mean, I'm glad that we have it was like a fun blend of like disagreement and like consensus at the end. You know, that's nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's about our usual length. Long one. Thank you, everybody who's tuned on in. We're going to get back into the swing of NACL content over the course of this season. ACL kicks off this week as well. Don't be afraid to tune in on that. Get yourself a little bit of Tier 3 action as well. And, yeah, tune into the NACL starts. It'll be this Thursday by the time this drops, because there's no way in hell I'm dropping this thing tomorrow. Yeah, so make sure to tune into the NACL. Check out Slayer. He's on the broadcast now. Yeah.
And if you want to fight the number one League of Legends evil that is always the LCK, you don't have to just pray to God that the LCS will once it knock them over. You can watch all three of us on LPL English if you want to try your hand at the LPL. Yeah. So I mean, hey, makes sense now that it's just us three, I guess. So
Hell yeah.
shameless plug.
Yeah, shout out to TDS, who's still on CB LOL English, I believe. If you want to see another region that's better than NA. And,
Oh, for fuck.
I mean, well, I guess that's not technically true anymore. But
no,
it
we
Yeah,
just
yeah.
beat them 3-2. That's very recently, as of now. I'm sorry, I just had to do that real quick.
that
Yeah,
was
shout
a
out to
good one.
TDS. Sorry about your internet, buddy. And yeah, we'll see everybody next time.